everybody. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday afternoon, and you know what that means. That means it's Gab and Doodle time. So it's just, I got some eyelash or something. So it's a lovely Thursday afternoon here. I'm solo today. My wife is not around. She's off in Florida, of all places. She flew down towards the hurricane. That's crazy talk, but she did. And so I'm here. We are going to gab it up. We're going to doodle it up. I'm going to let my guest in. I see Maria is here, and I will let them in just 1 second. But give you a quick heads up. We have Maria Dek on here. This book, A Walk in the Forest, is one of my favorite books ever. It is amazing in, one, the palette is just like so soft and serene, but like the sort of minimalist nature, although I say minimalist and then I open it up to that spread, but the minimalist sort of nature side of all these images is so great, and I'm excited to talk to them here in a matter of a second. Again, after this, I will try to post it up to YouTube. For anybody that doesn't know, I have a YouTube channel that's under Studio Hoffman, if you go look it up. I believe it's linked from my bio in Instagram. If not, I gotta fix that. I post them generally about a day or two afterwards in their entirety, so you can fast forward, rewind, do all the fun stuff that you can do in YouTube, and then this will stay on my feed as well. So let me let our special guest in for the day. Good morning, neighbor. I walk in the forest, and there's many, many more, but here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Let me make sure my volume is all the way up here. How are you?
Good, good. I really do hope that my internet connection will be fine because, as you know, I am at the end of the world. Like, really, I am here. So, but fingers crossed.
Okay. Hey.
So nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I live in an area where the internet should be good, and it has problems all the time too. So I don't know if it's we'll cross our fingers that both of us are okay. If for some reason it does drop, just hop back on. Same thing for me. If mine drops, I'll hop back on, and we'll go from there. But thank you for joining me today. I know that you are coming in from the other side of the world here, and it's nighttime.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Where are you located again? Are you in
Poland?
Poland,
which is okay. East Poland.
Okay, it's not the other side of the world, but it's pretty far.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's always the other side of the world. Like I feel like if I talk to anyone, even from Poland, it's still the other side of the world.
So I've been a huge fan of yours. We got this book, and I remember this book in particular being captivated by it in the bookstore. We were in a little town called well, it's not little, but a town called Portland, Maine. And there was this really lovely bookstore that we stopped in, and I was flipping through books, and it was just the spine of the book. And I was like, what is this with all these little trees on it? And I was like, what is this book going to be? And I opened it up, and I was like floored at the aesthetic, but also, as I mentioned, just the simplicity of the pages. And I say simplicity in a heartfelt way, that like the minimalism is probably a better word to use for what I mean, but just that like the negative space that runs in all of your work that is so important to it is such an amazing sort of thing that I've grown to love. And so having you on is a huge honor, and I am humbled because it's one of those things, like I overindulge in all of my pieces, and so today I'm going to try to be super minimalist if I can and try to play in that same world. But why don't you give everybody a real quick rundown of who you are and sort of what you do?
Okay, so again, thank you so much for having me. So yeah, I am based in Poland. I do children books for a couple of years already. I mostly illustrate, but I do my own books as well. I think it's like 50-50. And for a couple of years, I used to work with watercolor, and now for the last 3 years, I've been working with gouache, and yeah, I tend to be my dream is to be less messy and like full of details, and then I end up with those super rich and filthy spreads. But I am having fun with illustrating, and my main goal approach is to focus on emotions.
Okay.
So it's not like I mean, I like drawing, I like painting, but it's not my main thing. It's more about my idea to show some kind of the world idea, I don't know, features, emotions, as I mentioned. And the fun fact is that I've never been good in drawing or painting. I hated it when I was a child. I really did. And yeah, and when I was like 22, I decided to start doing it, but I had no artistic background or anything like that. So maybe this naive and quite empty space style is the final effect of being, lazy.
No. I wouldn't put lazy on it of any sort. I think one of the things that I've been trying to push with a variety of students and people that I work with, at my school and whatnot, in their illustrations, is how to use negative space, and not dead space, but negative space, and how that can make an impact. And in all the books that I've read of yours, there's sort of a quiet, serene element that comes out of it. That's so like, it's one of those things where, like, some books have a soundtrack to them. To me, like, if you get a book and it's like really lots of colors and whatnot, it's expressive and it sounds like it's a dance and things of the sort. And yours have this like almost like an ambient soundtrack, something where it's like not the sounds of nature and things of the sort, but there's like I equate yours more towards like that classical music side, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
I like that. No. I think, I don't think about this, like white space a lot, but then I have it a lot because I work so much on having this, like this emotions and the composition, which is focusing on one I don't know, feature of atmosphere or something like this. So it's like I want an eye of the viewer, of a child, to like have this walk around on the page. So yeah, it's I need the space. I need to know that like while reading the book, children will be able to breathe.
Yeah.
Like, so
there's a terminology that I learned when I was in college about breath, and the idea of like the separation of paragraphs. You got to take that moment to like have that little breath in between the paragraphs. They're so important. Otherwise, it just seems like it's just people just spitting out words constantly. And so, like, right in that wheelhouse, I want to shift gears here a little bit and sort of give you the preface that I give everybody before we get going, because we can just jump in and start making and talking. But one, you're allowed to go whenever you need to go. I know it's late there, and so if you can stay an hour, if you can stay 4 hours, it's up to you. I will go a long time, I will warn you. But whatever you need to do, as long as you're comfortable, then we're good. And then you wrote earlier today too about sort of what you're going to make, or what you usually make. And do you have any idea right now what you're going to do?
You know, I was thinking because I do stuff only for children, but for example, when I doodle while talking on phone, I get this more, let's say, naughty stuff, like more ugly.
Okay.
And I was thinking that maybe that would be something nice to do, because I mostly do this with pen, like really on the phone,
Yeah.
like blah 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 blah. So I have my paints with me, because unfortunately, because it's night, I cannot be in my studio. But yeah, I brought my stuff here, and yeah, maybe I will do something like quirky, stupid,
Okay.
like adult stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. This is literally my sketch of like so far. I got about.
Oh, yeah,
So
I have a paper. That's it.
so I think I'm gonna wing it tonight, which happens periodically. I have some other doodles up here that I can play with if need be, but I'm gonna sort of guess as we go along. And then, although my wife is not tuning in right now because she's at the doctor's, she normally writes down the mediums that you use. And
okay.
I will go back later and I'll fill this in because I'll have to do it myself. But can you tell us what those mediums are? If there's brands or things of that sort that you have on you? Okay, so Holbein.
Yeah, gouache. That's it. Yeah, and I. Hello.
They're friends. Yeah.
Yay! So yeah, I used to use those more fancy one. Wineseren.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but they dry fast, and my problem is that I lose the cups. Yeah,
the little those
what?
little plastic ones, whereas these are like bigger
Yeah,
and easier to open.
yeah. Most of my paints are without them on my tubes. So and the whole paints, they are not drying so fast. So
Wait,
so I cannot use those.
You leave the caps off of your paints?
Yes, because I lose them all the time.
Oh, okay. All right, you do you.
This is why I have to use Holbeins, because they are fine without the cups, and then I use my brushes, like to stick inside when I start.
Okay, to break the seal that's on them. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So how fancy.
What kind of surface do you work on? Are you on paper? Or?
So yeah. It's paper. It's I think it's 200 grams. Yeah. I used to work with like really thick paper, but then I discovered light board. Not to sketch on the paper, so I had to switch to a little bit thinner paper to have the light going through. And this one is like really smooth. I hate all of those, factor. Yeah. But
is it watercolor paper or is it? What?
No, it's
Bristol.
It's not. No, it's not watercolor. It's not Bristol. It's like acid-free paper.
Okay. Sort of multimedia.
So
yeah.
But it's not like a sponge at all. So with all of my weird creatures and all of my shabby brushes, I still can have some control.
Okay. Okay. So
okay.
Why don't we switch to
Yeah.
our sort of downshoots and we can just start to talk. And again, wherever the conversation goes, if it's art related, if it's not, all is fair game. Um,
Okay.
and and I'm watching a feed here so I can see if people are sending comments or questions or anything of the sort, so I can sort of track
Yeah. Oh, and
any.
if because like I did some live drawings for children, and I am open for suggestions because, of course, I will be drawing animals. Come on,
Yeah.
it's I have to, but I can make them, like crazy or something. So if anyone has a dream to see, I don't know, something, just let me know. But I will not be able to see the comments because I don't have second device.
Okay.
Where can I see them?
Okay.
So just let me know.
I'll keep track. I'm trying to think of like if there's something that I really want to see. Like,
Yes.
you know what I would. There is something I would like to see out of you, and just thinking about sort of. I had someone today write me in a DM on Instagram that said I'd really love to see what you do with a lion because they had seen a picture that was sort of similar and they wanted to see what my interpretation would be. When I look at your work, one of the things I would love to see what you do is something with water.
With water.
Yeah, like an ocean scene or pirates
Oh.
or like animal pirates or something of that. I don't know what, but just like because of the like color palette you use, I want to see what happens when like blue comes in or
Ah,
some
yeah.
sort or that sort of like maybe it's murky, I don't know, but the
Yeah,
marshland.
okay.
I don't know. That's
I
that's my initial
Yeah,
taste.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, sure. I cannot promise you lovely color feelings because of the light.
that's
That's
okay.
the problem because I have artificial light. But yeah, water life, water world sounds nice. So I will switch
Okay.
now, and I will.
I'll do the same here, and I'll walk you through if you have any questions about sort of camera direction or anything of the sort.
Yeah, yeah. I will try to find good angle and then.
Let's see if I can get mine. And then you can also, if you need to zoom out, you can pinch the screen a little bit with your screen with your fingers and zoom it out a little bit if you need a wider shot too. So you
Oh,
can go the other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I mean, no, okay. So it's like this is like the wider I can
Yeah.
do, I think.
Okay.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I will do tiny animals.
We'll adjust. We'll adjust. It depends on how far your camera is away from what's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I had to build this crazy structure to hold my phone.
That's I've built many of those throughout my days for previous iterations. Now I have one of those special fancy ones that my camera fits in. I just saw your agent Debbie. I'm gonna guess it's Bebo.
Yeah, yeah.
Just said they agree with the request for water.
Okay.
So now you
The
got
water.
an actual order from your agent to
Oh no. Now it's getting serious.
yeah. You can't get away with just fluff anymore. So tell me, because you said that sort of you came to art with this is the first time I've had someone on who said that they disliked art when they were little.
Yeah,
Most people
yeah.
come
I
to it with
think
this like deep appreciation of like I'm gonna be an artist when I grow up. And so tell me a little bit about sort of where did that stem from, and how did you get over it, or did you?
uh, I think it's what I do now. It's more like sharing the idea I had as a child and like my children dreams because I was more thinking about being some kind of crazy, I don't know, not scientist maybe, but something connected to nature. At the time, I had no idea what were the options, but I studied journalism,
Oh, okay.
and I wanted to at at some point I wanted to be a copywriter, which is I would hate my life, but yeah, and I started doodling at the classes, and some of the friends said, "Oh my God! I mean, they are fun because they were not cute or nice or pretty because it's not what I can do." Um, and then I decided that's like it's an idea, and I don't mind trying because I was 23 or something, so why not?
Yeah.
And I signed up for some drawing classes for the first time in my life, and I went for a postgraduate course, like 1 year uh, course in Brighton,
Okay.
uh, in England. And yeah, I said, okay, so I really would like to be an illustrator. I still don't know what does it mean, but yeah, it's something I
It's it means what you're doing right now. That's it's it's funny because the idea of I think there's a lot of us, even though it sounds like you know you don't have a huge sort of education experience in the arts. I think you have the same questions that a lot of us do. Like even I right now, as someone who's went to college specifically for illustration and things of the sort, I still don't know 100% what I'm doing, and I don't know if I can clearly define. I mean, it's illustration, but I can't tell you exactly like uh, what direction I'm going from day to day
yeah, yeah,
in
and
my
I
practice.
mean, yeah, I
Go ahead.
and I even did as well a fine arts academy for illustration, but I was I was such a crappy student. I was the worst.
In what
I
way?
really,
Are you
I,
talking like
I was, yeah, I just, like I couldn't draw as they wanted me to draw, like this, like nature, realistic shades and stuff, and I felt um like in a cage. I didn't know how to do it, and so it was really blocking me. So I decided, when I was studying, I decided to start doing books because I had to find a way to um, free myself in a way, and of course show myself and the whole world that okay, maybe I cannot paint an old naked lady sitting at the like live drawing, but I can do the book. So
contextually I know exactly like what you're talking about in the sense of there are the people who are really good at drawing the nude model, and then there's other of us, myself included, who like it's just not my natural habit to go realistic on things or to
yeah,
want to live in that world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Do
so
do you find did you find that there was pressure on you to sort of have a certain aesthetic or a certain approach when you were in school for that,
I
or was that
think I did myself this pressure. It's because like because I didn't had this, like I met people who've been dreaming about being on an academy for years, and I
yeah
just went there with a business plan. I want to do books, and I want to like make a living out of it. So I had this huge pressure on myself to like to show this, and A Walk in a Forest was my first outdoor book.
okay
So it's like like because before that I did some books with my friend. She wrote it and I illustrated them, but that was my first one, and I think it's like some kind of um I don't know, like my story about my whole life. Like I don't know, I cannot feed my hunger of telling about nature, and it's so strong. I just cannot escape from that. Like I have to share this love,
Yeah.
this I don't know, excitement about being outside. So I think I will I will be this grandma who is, like drawing bushes and rabbits.
Now, when you got a walk in the forest as a book, was that something that you had your agent at that time, or was that pre-agent? Where were you sort of
So,
career wise when that
uh,
came out?
so I found out about Bologna book fair,
Okay.
and I had some sketches and the some spreads of this book of When I Am Big book, when
Yep.
I first went to Bologna, and I met publishers, but besides that I asked Debbie for a meeting when I was there, and I sold to a French publisher a walk to the forest into the forest, but other books are managed by Debbie Bibo. And it's yeah, it's super helpful because like I can focus on I can see that the colors are really shitty. Sorry. I
It's
mean,
okay.
like you cannot see anything. So maybe I will stick to sketches because
That
it will be
what
useless to
whatever makes you
useless.
happy, and
Okay.
then the only thing I would say is afterwards just post it up somewhere so people can see the finish of
Yeah.
whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or a story or what have you, so people can see the
Okay.
colors that you're actually looking with. But again, like I said on the DM, I have a feeling a lot of people tune into this not just because of watching art being made, but also just because of the conversation and hearing from folks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
so
Sure. Sure.
I wouldn't worry too much about the art. I turn out some clunkers quite often in doing this, so uh, don't worry about color representation too much. Um,
Okay.
and so you land your agent, and you have
Yeah.
you have representation now. But do you still feel like do you still feel some sense of uh, that you're sort of in a world that you're not sure about, or do you feel, because you've had enough books now, I would think that you're at a point where you're like, I got this, but it
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I
maybe
think
that's not true.
no. No, no, it's what I meant by saying that I had no idea. It was no, like past tense,
Okay.
and now I no, I feel comfortable. But what made me feel comfortable and sure about what I do? It's not even technique and stuff like that, but more of a change of approach when I started to read about, like children's psychology, how their brains
Yeah.
work, perception, and then I felt prepared, and because I personally feel that we are in a way like not in charge, but not in a control, but we have this influence on children imagination and their point of view, like in an aesthetic way, not only in aesthetic way. So I really wanted to be prepared and equipped for the job. So like I really want to know my customer, let's say.
Okay.
And this is why I run really a lot of workshops, and I love it because, of course, it's like eating me up, the energy. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it's so fulfilling, you know, seeing those children like getting crazy because when I do workshops, I never, like I never have this idea of teaching children how to paint or draw. I just want them to find their own idea of creation
Yeah.
and just, let them having fun with process. And I find this really important because Polish education system is it's a mess,
It
and even art classes, it's like, like stressful, and children have to show like, I don't know, full color, no white spaces, and like medieval ages
yeah.
way of teaching. And especially in the region I live, it's like really old-fashioned way of
Is
teaching. So
that just because
it's
of
always,
the cultural sort of history, or is that when you say it's sort of an old way of teaching? Like there's certain regions of the world that have like techniques that they teach because that's just the way it's always been done throughout history or culturally. Is that
yeah.
sort of
Of course, of course, there is this amazing fine arts academy history in Poland, and like the posters and illustrations. But no, it's not. It's for sure. It has no impact on us, primary school
yeah,
teachers. Uh, but unfortunately, um, but it's. I think it's kind of fear, like if we let children find their own voice, they can use it. And I know it sounds big, but uh, I really believe that like art and music in schools should be more like art therapy between those, like big subjects. And it's such a shame that like those children, they get stressed because they didn't fill up the paper with all of the colors. So and it's so lovely when I start doing workshops and those children, they are like really in shock, like they cannot for a second, they cannot believe me that they can do whatever they want, and that there is no, like no
yeah,
rules. And I, of course, I have a, like subject or something, but there is always someone who wants to do dinosaurs or whatever, and it's completely fine with me. And then I can see this, like they are blooming, they are having fun, they are discovering new techniques because they have freedom. So this is something I want to explore, being in a relation with my reader. And this is the most important thing for me. So when I think about my works and some kind of progress and stuff like this. It's always because of this approach, because I want to say something more directly or more
Yeah.
emotionally. And
It's it's interesting to me to hear, like, it's, it sounds to me like there's questions about sort of the arts education there, and I would
yeah,
I would say it's sort of universal in a sense that even, you know, we do have arts education here, but definitely the type of arts education that we have, at least in my area, tends to get overshadowed by math and science, and in particular, funding does not go to the arts in the same way that it does to, sports teams and
oh yeah,
things that, uh, well, me being the artist type when I grew up, sports were not
hmm
my natural state. Uh, I am the art kid, not the sports kid.
so
And
you knew.
yeah, I did know, but it's something wherein seeing the amount of funding that goes into, like, the as silly as it is, in the area that I'm in, that goes into the football team at the high school compared to what they
hmm
spend on the sports or on the arts program is drastically different. And then on top of that, there is that pressure of, there's a certain type of teaching that has to be, there's a right and wrong answer even in the arts
Oh my God,
sometimes. And
yeah,
it sounds to me like that's what you're living with too, in the sense of, like, there's a way to make art and there's a way not to make art,
yeah.
and it doesn't actually work that way when you're actually an artist, that you make all sorts of things. um
Yeah, yeah, and we keep forgetting that, like everyone is born as an artist, and
yep.
that's the thing, that and then somewhere on the way we lose it, and that's it. So that's a shame, and but we are doing our best, and
We're trying.
and that's it.
We're trying. Yeah. And the more artists like us that are out there sort of talking about funding and whatnot, the better. And hopefully, like, I've actually tried to get involved in some of the education stuff near me beyond my own teaching at the college level,
Oh,
trying to get
okay.
interest in sort of the public education here more and more as my son grows up, because I have a vested interest in, you know,
Yeah,
making sure everybody has that opportunity that potentially I had that they don't have anymore.
yeah.
Um, now that you are in this kidlit world, do you feel like uh, do you feel like it was sort of destined to be?
You
You mentioned that idea of, like,
lately, yeah,
wanting to show.
lately
Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I Yeah, lately I remind myself a funny little game from my childhood. I used to play when I was looking at something, anything basically, but I was with my eyes and brain. I was playing with perception, and I changed it. So in with my brain, I tried to change what I see in I don't know, in a different shape, and and then when I see how I adore, and how I get crazy excited about nature stuff, and those tiny little micro
Mhm.
worlds. I think in a way it was meant to be, um, and but not like I have to draw or paint. I think it's just I have to talk about let's have fun outside, and it's really important, and we are part of this nature, and it's I cannot imagine how it's possible that nowadays there are children who are, I don't know, having a walk once a week. I don't understand this. I mean, It, I mean, I am lost when someone is saying me something like this. It's like different language. I mean, of course, I am in super position because I live in the countryside in a village, and like my boys eat mud and like play with sticks and eat ants and blah blah.
Are you actually
And
feeding them mud, or are they just getting mud outside
yeah,
and eating it?
yeah, they are getting it. They are really capable of taking care of themselves. Like I don't have to tell them to eat it every day. They are just go and do that. So it's amazing. But really, it makes me dead inside, knowing that it's not it's not something
Yeah, it's not.
basic that
Yeah, every kid doesn't get that experience of being
yeah.
outside.
And I think we really we really are the part of it. So if we are not there outside, of course it's not easy when you live in like New York City or
Yeah,
whatever. Uh, but then you have all of those opportunities, like you can grow your tomatoes on like window or something, and yeah, I just need to share this love, because of course I don't want to be a teacher who says, oh, every day you have to go outside 15 minutes, blah blah blah, now exercise,
yeah.
hop hop.
Go do what
But
I do.
yeah, now
Yeah,
sniff the flower for half of hour.
they have to
Yeah,
come to it of their own accord, and
yeah. But if we have this habit as a child,
yeah,
then we will survive, because our approach will change totally, because we will have to take care of the planet, because we understand that it's our planet and we want to like be part of it. And so I think it's really basic, and yeah, I feel that it's something I cannot stop talking about. And on the other side, it's simply fascinating, like I have this luck that I live in a village, but it's quite special because I live in the oldest forest in Europe, and it's like we have bisons and stuff.
oh really?
And yeah, we do. Like it's called zubr. It's not bison,
Yeah,
but it's our kind of it. And like yesterday, a wolf ate a deer outside of my place where I work. So like BBC Earth online, like on live. So it's amazing. But the second thing is that there are plenty of scientists living here, and most of my friends here are nature
yeah.
scientists. So like I have I have this knowledge all around me, and it's crazy how nature got it, like fix it, like it's genius. Like I don't know, like the woodpecker has a super long tongue, and it's of course long because he has to put it to the hole to eat the bug. But when he's not eating the bug, the tongue is like a pillow for his brain when he's
What?
smashing the tree. Yeah, yeah, you
Okay,
see, I
love
mean,
it.
yeah, exactly. And this is everywhere. Everything has this. Like all of them, they figure it out in such an amazing way.
So,
It's amazing.
so
So
do me a favor then. Tell me your favorite thing about nature. Like what is obviously the woodpecker thing is awesome, but that doesn't mean
yes.
it's your favorite. What's your favorite thing about being like? Is there a special rock that you love? Is there you love sticks? What's the thing?
So so I mean, I will think for a second, but in the meantime, I will tell you another amazing fun nature fact. When the bee is flying to the flower, so they have two different kinds of like this electricity impulse, like so the bee is minus and the flower is plus, or the other side. I don't remember, but um, they are like magnets. They like
Yeah,
they
one
have to
draws
come
the other.
together.
Yeah. Okay.
So when the bee is finished with the flower and with the pollution. So she is flying away, and then the second bee, when she's coming, when it's coming to the flower, it feels already that this flower doesn't have any nectar or anything like this, because it's not. There is no impulse there.
So
I'm not sure.
it's not a sight thing. It's not like oh I can't see the pollen.
No,
It's it,
no, it's not the side thing. It's the magnetic
huh.
thing. Uh, so yeah, I love it. And if I would have to say what I love the most, oh, I know. Um, the thing I love the most is this crazy life of crazy circle of life. So when the tree is dead here, I mean it because like in this forest they cannot take the tree away when it's dead. It's just there. So when the tree falls down, it's like it's first of all it's opening the light for the tiny trees which are waiting in the line uh, to grow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because this big tree is fallen, it's like it's kind of fence protecting those tiny trees, so the deers cannot eat them, because when the tiny trees start to grow, it's really sweet because photosynthesis works really crazy, and it makes the leaves really sweet. So it's like a candy for all of the
Yeah.
grass eaters. And but there is a fence because this huge tree is fallen, so they cannot reach those tiny trees, so they can go up. And when the big tree, which is dead, is like really old already, so it's it's rotten. So all of the moths, all of the moss, the mushroom, and other plants are just like eating it up. Um, and it's this tree start looking like a huge, like a world, like like there
Yeah.
is everything, like a new universe. So and I love those. When I go to the forest, I it's like every time I see such an old rotten tree, it's like getting to, I don't know, like circus or something, because it's full of life. All of those bugs, little worms, mushrooms, moss, everything. It's amazing, and I love it. And of course, you can see that in my illustrations, because I always paint some beetles and stuff, because I cannot stop. Um,
Do you bring anything like a microscope or anything with you as you go to?
no, but yeah, I was thinking about this, but not yet, not yet. I am not there yet, but who knows? Because for now, I am more of a happy, crazy person in forest. So it's like, oh my God, this is so cute, and this is so cute. But yeah, I have a friend who is a biologist, and I love walking. I love going to the forest with her, because she's like, like she's checking every hole to see if there is, like life there, and she's giving me names and those crazy informations like about the woodpecker. So she's my microscope for now.
Gotcha, gotcha.
But
It's
yeah.
my wife is worked for a while at a nature reserve here and did little,
Oh,
like walks with little kids and showed them stuff that
oh,
was out in nature, and it sounds very similar in that sort of like as
yeah,
you're walking along, she'll be like, "Oh, that's a whatever." I'm not an expert in this, but she'll say things like, "Oh, it's that plant," or it's "Oh, it's one of those birds," and I just have never been able to pick up on all the little details and things that she's been able to sort of learn, but her mother is even more so that. So it sounds like similar in the
oh,
sense of like when you go out with them, you learn a ton in a very short period of time just because they're experts.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
sounds
I'm going to throw you a
amazing.
challenge the other direction then, which is what's one thing you don't like about nature? Probably a
Um,
tougher question.
Yeah, no, no, all of those things that wants to eat me
Okay.
when I am trying to enjoy it. I mean, what the heck? No, of course yeah, it's everyone hates all of those, but no,
Like
what I hate
I get
about
I'm
it.
a mosquito magnet, and so I get bug bites really easily. They all come towards me. And so
Oh,
I love nature. Bugs tend to attack me more than other people.
oh,
So that's my like easy go to, but I have a feeling you might not necessarily that you have the same thing, but there's probably something where it's like
yeah,
I could do
but you
without.
see, the nature loves you, so I mean.
It does. I wish it didn't love me as much as it does. Let's put it.
What I hate about that, what I don't like about nature.
Not that yeah, hate it, just
Maybe,
dislike.
yeah, maybe, yeah, it's more of the history of my life, but I think it's what I hate. It's that it's really far my, like because we moved here from big city, so I left my friends there
Yeah.
to be in the nature. So this is the payment. Like
Yeah.
I have to pay the price. I have to pay for being here.
I can
And
get that. I can understand that idea of you have to give up a little something to get something.
yeah, yeah, and for sure, I hate those, and I understand we need them, but I hate those dark times, like like late autumn and
Mm.
winter. I am like a sun battery, and without the light, I am dying. So this is, yeah, this is like I don't like this. I really hate this. So when it's snowing, it's okay, but November is killing me. Like without sun, I cannot imagine living, like really in the north, in Norway or somewhere where they have this polar days and polar nights for
Yeah.
half of the year. It's the idea of being in darkness for a couple of months. Well,
Yeah. What one of the things I recently went over to Ireland, and one of the things that surprised us when we went over there is how late it stays dark in the area that we were in.
oh,
And not that it was like uh or not dark, I'm sorry, how much it stays light until the late hours of the day, but it was very, very confusing to us because
yeah.
it was the equivalent of the sun didn't go down until 11 o'clock at night. And
Oh my
so
God.
we had no idea what time of day it was once we got past dinner. And so we were staying up way too late on a regular basis, and losing track of the actual time of day, and then that screwed us up the next day. And I can imagine with that sort of like, yeah, if you're in that Arctic Circle of any sort, that it's going to throw you off dramatically on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Um, did now how did you have long days there too? Like I always think of Poland as being further north then, but it sounds like
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is, but no, it's now, of course, we have those long days and short nights, but it's what time it is now? I have no idea, but yeah, it's really dark. Like it's getting dark here around 9 p.m.
okay.
now. So yeah, but that's this better part of the year. So it's
Yeah.
getting now it's getting, like every day I think it's around half of minute or a minute. Um, yeah,
Or
less of the
yeah.
sun.
It is something wherein I prefer day, but I'm also a pale person, so I don't want too much sun. I don't
Oh, okay.
I don't want to get sunburned on a regular basis, and so
Okay.
I have to be mindful of that side of it. Um, so
Yeah.
tell me, let's go back to the book stuff for a minute, and
Yes.
tell me a little bit about you know one of the things that I really love about your work in general is that it's stylistically very refreshing to me,
Oh,
and it feels unique in its approach to. I'm trying to think of like the right wording for this. Like one, I talked about this the sort of minimalism, but I also think
yeah.
that one of the things I really love about your work is there's a real design sense to it. Even
Oh,
though you're using traditional media and things of the sort, there's like this understanding of the impact of imagery and when you
mhm.
need to go big and when you need to stay small with or limited with what you're putting on a page. And I'm wondering, is that something that how do you go about designing your pages? Is it something wherein you do a lots of like I'm gonna use a walk in the forest as an example, but I think this is
Mhm.
reminiscent of a lot of your work of like how often I'm looking at the cover here and how often
Yeah.
you put the trees and how much space you put in the trees and where you put the little deer and the fox and the bears and things of the sort. And then when I get into it, there's even the page of the jungle or the treasure, and there's a
Yeah.
certain amount of like understanding of when to cut pages and when not. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering, like, is that something that just naturally comes to you? Do you end up doing lots and lots of sketches to get that to
So
happen? Where does it all stand?
I I start with I start with the sketch of the rhythm of the book. So it's those tiny, really tiny, like this.
Thumbnails.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, and that's it. and but with the idea of what I want to show, and then when I have the whole rhythm of the book, I start filling it up with more of the composition ideas, and at every step I am asking myself the question why, what for, and what do I want to say by this, because what is really important to me to when I design the book, the illustrations, is to stay as true as possible, and I never think about, I don't know, like showing off my skills and like getting pretty, because for me it's boring, and the second thing is that like I cannot do that because I don't know how to. But no, I'm maybe I'm joking, maybe I'm not. I'm not. You will never know. This is like it's yeah, but I already feel for a while that this is the only way of this is the only way I can show the world. So I feel very comfortable with my style, and making composition. I think it's a huge part of it. And sometimes when I have this idea of the super rich, detailed books, I think it's killing me, and it's not. The outcome is not good when I want to do too much and to say too much stories, too many stories, or to show too many characters. Because I love those crowdy books. I really do. I mean, like like albums that you can watch for hours, and I really think about that as well when I do my illustrations, because what I hate is to do a book that is like to read for one time and then you can just go like get it to the like get rid of it. I want children to discover new elements every time, but at the same time I know that it's easy to lose the main purpose of it. So it's like like walking on the line. It's always getting too much here, too much there, and then like two steps back to see what I can reduce, and of course less is more, blah blah blah. But and one of my favorite tool is absurd, which I love, and you can see that in my creatures, but you can see as well in my playtime with sizes. Like I don't keep normal natural sizes. Like I don't know, like I paint those tiny characters, children characters, in like with the huge flowers and stuff like this. So I have this let's say poetic tool to play, and it's very useful for the composition, because it's opening my mind, and I can like be more creative with composition, because I don't have to be, I'm not stuck with, you know, like proportions.
Yep. I it's one of the things that I noticed initially, that in some of the work that I saw of yours was, and I do the same thing where it's like I'll draw a little tiny town and then I just like a big person for some reason, and
Yeah.
I find I gravitate and I keep going like, does everybody have to be a giant in all of my pieces? And I know they don't, but I tend to gravitate towards that just aesthetically. I think it's fun to mess with proportion. Uh, but
Yeah.
it becomes a question of like, if you're just playing around, what kind of story are you getting out of it? And do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
find
it has to, yeah, there is yeah, the purpose is always the main thing. That's, so of course it's nice to be silly, you know, like from time to time, and you know, like those are children books, and we want to give them fun and good time, and you know, in this crazy world, this moment of you know, like being together with an adult, and this is the second very important thing, or third, or some, yeah, with some number, that when I create the book, I always think as well about the second person, the big one, which who is reading the book. So uh, I want this book to be a space for meeting for this child and this adult. I want this book to be an opportunity to make their relation stronger
yeah,
and better. Of course, those are, you know, like my dreams, and but yeah, I can just, I think about that when I paint, and I hope that, you know, like people use it, that that not everything is said in my books, so they can do their own stories
well,
together.
it's again, I think that's one of the beautiful things about sort of the quiet moments in your book is that,
Yeah,
you know, even looking at the uh, manuscript that goes with it and the words, that idea of like the limited moment, I think is really sort of hugely impactful in the appreciation of like the moment that's being presented. And so
yeah,
rather than trying to inundate us with lots and lots of text that somehow is supposed to like reveal or tell us stuff, you let us sort of fill in those puzzle pieces, or you know, connect the dots in a way that's
yes,
appropriate for us
yeah.
as the audience. Um, is there something about kidlit in particular, like this industry, that you find um, more challenging than others? Like,
Uh, um, hmm, I, hmm, I'm not sure if I understood
well,
your
the equivalent
question.
of, you said that like getting the emotion across is really
Yeah,
important to you, and sometimes like for me, it's the important thing for me in my work is trying to like generally get across some sense of wit or charm in it, but
yeah.
that's not always the easiest thing to do. Like I was talking to uh, last week, I was talking with Bob Shea on here
Mm-hmm.
about how can you be funny? Like
Oh, yeah,
how do you manage being funny? And he's a very funny writer
yeah,
and artist. And I look at your work and I see such like a grace and ease to it, but I imagine there's some part of it that you just go, "Ooh, this is the part that I dread," or "This is the part that's going to be the most challenging for me on this project," or what have you. Um,
yeah,
and I'm wondering,
yeah.
can you nail that down, or do you have any sense of what that is?
Yeah, I because for the last 5 years, I've been a mom, so illustration and book world isn't my first interest anymore. So and because of my crazy way of like living outside, like far from city, and like really sitting in the forest, I start feeling that I lose I lose my my chance, let's say, to understand some kinds of trends.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for the last year, I feel very lost in what is a good book in a meaning of marketing, because of course the first thing is we want to do good books, like valuable, interesting, about something we love or we have fun about, but then we have to pay our bills, and
Yeah.
and I don't know, when I was younger, I had like much more time for seeing new books, going to all of the book fairs and stuff like that. And now when I am like with my boys at home, and of course I work, but it's not my world anymore. I understand the world less and less. So of course I know what I want to do, and I know my goals, and I want to keep this like this light, absurd, funny world of funny creatures in the natures, and like talking about friendship, and things like that, because they are important to me, and I want to share with children. But
Yeah.
let's
Priorities.
be honest, it's not children who are buying the books.
Yep.
So I don't know anymore what kind of messages, what kind of stories want those adults, because I think, yeah, it's my problem nowadays. Like I am not sure if I can understand the buyers,
Yeah.
not the children, because I feel that I can understand them, but the marketing team, it's it's my
No,
problem.
I understand though. Like I'm of the same boat where I think when I started doing Kidlit, I had a very different perception of what was expected, what I wanted to do, and I think life changes, and like the equivalent of the type of artwork that I'm interested in doing now is different than what I was doing, at the time, which was 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it was. And even though aesthetically it may be somewhat in the same ballpark, um, I have a different interest now just because of life. I think I was very much like I really wanted to be commercial, and
Yeah,
now I look at it, I really want to experiment, and I want to play a
yeah,
little bit more than what I, originally did when I got into Kidlit. And
yeah,
it's not always the easiest thing in the world to make that shift without giving up something, or having to sort of really come to question your reality. Let's put it that way. Uh,
yeah,
why am I doing this? What is the need? Not just for me, not just for the audience, but for the market, and there's a lot of questions that go through our head
Yeah.
in this industry
Yes. Yes.
that as time
And
goes
then
on.
standing for yourself, it's so difficult because they have, like they have numbers and those, Excel stuff, and you have only your idea, and it's frustrating. And yeah, this is when I feel that okay, this is something what kills me. I am trying to set up some workshops, so I'm not. I don't try my ideas on children during workshops, but I can, I don't know, observe them and, like make sure that, okay, my book is really important. I really want to do this because I can see that children are interested or moved by something,
Yeah.
and it gives me some power to, like to stand for myself. But it's something I am struggling with, and I think that there is as well this small factor inside me that sometimes when I, like talk to big heads, I start feeling like this. This it's stupid, but it is like this. I am start feeling like this poor cousin from Poland, like like, little Marysia eating her kartoshki, her potatoes, like in the village, like singing with the birds. She knows nothing about numbers, about, paper cost. And I hate this. I hate this because at the end of the day, it's me who is doing the product.
Yeah.
So
You
what the heck?
the
Yeah.
that idea of feeling little in this, especially in an environment that is fairly, you know, I don't want to say uh, challenging, but I do think that there's this idea of like that stays with quite a few folks that, boy, I'm the lonely little illustrator who sits in my studio and I'm reporting
Yeah.
into a publisher or to someone who is, who makes all the big decisions. And
Yes.
it can definitely be challenging. I know I've still to this day, like, worry when I send off an email to my art directors or my editors or anything of the sort. I worry, oh no, I just offended the person that could make or break me. Even though I know that's not necessarily true,
Yeah.
I still like I
Yeah.
hover over my email, going, okay, did they write back yet? Did they write back?
Yes.
And
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
rereading my email over and over again to question, did I write it the right way? Did I misspell their name? Whatever it may be, all those questions still go through my head to this day, even though I've
Yes.
been doing it for a while. Uh,
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't
That's
think that'll ever go away 100%. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, if like we can make fun of it, knowing that it's not only my issue, your issue, but it's our issue,
yep.
and yeah,
We will
it's
we will get through it. We will
yes,
come out the other side. Do you?
yeah,
Is there a specific like one of the things that I going back to sort of the type of books that you make and the stuff that you like, um, is there certain types of books that you would just say no to in general? And like you mentioned nature, and obviously like no one's out there making a book that's like anti-nature, but is
yeah,
there,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
if someone came to you and said we want to do a book that's on skyscrapers and construction equipment, would you sit there and go, that's not really me? Or would you say, I want to see how I interpret this kind of work?
I think, I mean, I've never had this offer. I think I am this, I am this crazy nature lady, and publishers
Yeah, they're
don't
not.
offer me. Yeah, yeah. But that would be challenging, I think, to do something like that. Probably most of the buildings would look like worms, but maybe. But sometimes, yeah, it's true that sometimes I am having those thoughts that, oh my God, one more fox, one more beetle, and I will vomit. Like it's it's of course I am not comparing myself, but I read about Tove Jansson who made Moomins, and she hated them at the end. Like she like with all her heart she hated Moomins at the end because she was the Moomin lady, and that's it.
Yep.
So yeah, that may be a thing one day, that like there will be no getting back to other parts of the world, but only foxes and bugs for me. But for now, I am okay with that, and since uh, I I am, like my elder son is 5 years old, and my second one is 2.5. So it's the last year was my comeback to work. So I am just, like not feeling like huge adventures yet.
Gotcha.
I want to, like
Get back.
get settled, yeah, get back, and then I can be more playful. But I still don't know the subject, but I really would love to make a book like with this kind of illustrations, like lines only,
Yeah.
uh, not full illustrations. So this is something I am thinking about. But yeah, those lines will be, like mice and frogs.
Well, it's interesting. Like there are certain subjects that I'm willing to try to tackle anything, but there's definitely ones that are harder on me, and so
Mhm.
like that idea of things that are natural are much easier because of the organic nature of the way that I work and
Yeah.
things of the sort. Versus like if I had a book that was all about cars,
Oh.
I would really question like, okay, how am I going to draw a car so it's maintainable? Because I just don't want to get into the hyper realism of any sort.
Yes.
My work goes that direction, but I want to make sure that I don't fall prey to, well, I got to make it look perfect because
Yeah.
like cars are going to question what I'm doing. And so the idea of like, I'm trying to think if there's subjects that I'm like dead set against. Uh, Not really. I mean, something that's horrific. Yes, I would stay away from it. But I think for the most part, it's primarily like I just don't want to draw a straight line anymore. Like
Oh,
that's not.
but but do you do sketches of those scary things for yourself,
Not really. I
or no?
Most of my sketching is like seconds before I make it, or if it's for a book,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's just fitting the subject matter. But if it's making work for myself,
Yeah.
I don't really do a lot of sketching. And if I do, it's
Yeah.
very, very simple or it's crude and it's not meant to be the final thing. It's never meant to be the like, this is the exact line I got to put down, or this is the, you know, there's one answer. I don't think that's ever the way that I like to work. Let's put it that way. Um,
Yeah.
and so the more I look at it, the more um, I the idea of like I can do a city, I can draw a straight or I can cut a straight line or draw a straight line, but it's just not. I don't ever want to get a ruler out Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't mind putting in a straight edge, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm never
Yeah.
the rulers and like measurements and that kind of stuff. Ugh, sounds gross to me. Is there is there is there a subject that, or like you mentioned the idea of like foxes, and you've drawn enough foxes now at this point that you're spent on them, or enough of them have drawn that you want to change it up a little bit. Are there subjects or characters or things of the sort that you just want to draw more so than others?
Yeah, frogs and
What?
frogs all the time.
Why frogs?
I don't, they are, I mean, they are amazing. I mean, there is, they are like, I don't know, they look like huge nonsense, and it's such a weird creature, and this tongue, like, you know, like they catch the flies with the tongue, and those shapes of frogs, and of course the green color, which I love, but they are so weird that you can show them in so many ways, and it's I think we have, like, each of us on planet Earth, we would draw a frog completely differently, like from our minds. It's a little bit like with the bicycle, but I don't know. It's I love the shape of this animal, and it's so plastic, and it's so you can play with it. It's each of the position looks completely different, and I think it's as well about this being in the middle of the world of water and grass. So they have those two lives they live, and I love the fact that most of the people think that they are gross. So I think even it's not about frogs, but more about oh my God, I forgot the name for the ugly brown frog. Sorry?
A toad?
Yes, a toad. Sorry. Yeah, a toad.
Not that I think they're ugly too, but I got you
Yeah,
when you said
yeah, but
toad.
yeah, it's something. It's people. Yeah, like it's not a cute bunny. Yeah, so it's it. I mean, when I see a frog on the street or a toad, I instantly feel that there is interesting story of its life, and yeah, it's very attractive. Don't tell my husband. I'm
Do you
attracted to
now?
frogs.
Would you handle a frog? Like, would you pick up a frog?
Yeah, sure, of course, yeah, and yeah, and it's every year, every spring we have like a tons, like really tons of tiny frogs and toads here, because they are moving from water to the land, and they are jumping everywhere. So unfortunately, a lot of them dies on the streets, and but it's I love picking up those creatures, and like
the alive
giving.
ones, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not the dead ones. Yeah.
No, but as a child, I had this idea to collect those dry, flattened frogs, which were, like driven by car,
Yeah.
driven. Yeah. I didn't do that because I didn't find enough of the material.
To do what
Uh,
with?
yeah, like to have the collection of that frogs. So
Okay. Okay.
you can see now how far from being cute illustrator I was.
We just lost 15 viewers on the, no, the, the just the idea of you going out and collecting dead frogs.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like to taxidermy but it sounds like just throw them in a drawer. Um, the I'm someone who uh, this is gonna maybe sound really ridiculous, but like there's certain things in nature that I love that I think are cool, but I just don't want to touch. And
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
frogs are in that ballpark, toads even more so. But it's a conceptual thing. It's not a visual thing for me, but it's because they go through the metamorphosis of,
Oh,
egg
yeah,
to tadpole to frog and whatnot.
yeah.
Like just conceptually, I don't like that idea. And
Oh,
so like
okay.
there's weird, like I don't like touching bugs all that much because of the larval stage.
Yes,
Like they once were a
yes.
larva, and like I don't like larvae. They're gross looking, and even though they may be beautiful bugs now,
Yeah,
I don't particularly want to
yeah,
pick up a thing that was once a larval uh uh you know being. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Uh, Ugly
Yes,
Brown
yes.
Frog. Oh, AJ Smith, who is an illustrator. I don't know if you know AJ Smith's work. He does Kidlit. Said Ugly Brown Frog should be a book.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like the Ugly Goose, where it's actually a swan.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
that's your next book, Ugly Brown
yeah.
Frog. Is that
Yeah, but to be, yeah, yeah, I am, yeah, I definitely, in my shelf of unfinished projects, I have a frog book,
do you?
which, yeah, 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 of course, which is coming back to me like once a year. Uh, but yeah, when you were talking about being disgusted by touching it, yeah, I realized that I would die if I would have to touch the moth when it's dark. Like if the moth would yeah, like the night butterfly,
Yeah.
yeah.
If it
Uh,
lands on you or
would,
something, you don't like that?
yes. Ugh. Never. Yeah, it's so beautiful. They are beautiful, but I don't know. I cannot stand the touching face. It's like no,
So
no.
is it moths, or is it because I have an issue with things landing on me? So like I don't like if a
No,
bird
no.
comes out of nowhere and lands on me. Like if you're trying to feed some birds, I don't mind if I'm putting out my hand and it lands on my hand, but if it lands on my shoulder and that's really problematic.
And you have, yeah. So it's, yeah, and you don't have control.
Yeah, is that the issue with the
Yeah.
moth?
No, no, no. No. Oh no, yeah, I think the softness of those of the body, not only the wings, but they have this
Yeah.
fairy body. I don't know. It's the idea is lovely and beautiful, but I don't want to touch this.
Good.
I can just watch.
Interesting. Interesting. We all have our that's one of those like nature things. Like I love fish. I think fish are really interesting to look at, but I don't want to touch a fish. There's
Yeah.
something weird about it, and I have a feeling it goes back to like something in my childhood. I'm like, oh, here's the reason
Oh.
why. But maybe a moth at one point attacked you or
Yeah,
challenged you to a
probably,
fight.
yeah.
Yeah, something happened that changed your perception of moths. Um,
Yeah.
so uh,
That's which.
What now you said
True.
that you found a wolf ate what was it that was nearby? Ate something?
Yeah, yeah, a deer.
A
Yeah.
deer. Uh, does that mean that you have to be careful of wolves outside, or is that something that it's
No, we as a like people, we did our best for thousands of years to teach wolves to be afraid of us. So no, no way. Of course, they like they are they eat other animals. No, but there is no history of wolf attacking a man here. And the thing is that the wolf would never attack a man only if it was raised by people. So if because there are a lot of stories where people find tiny cute puppet and they bring it home and then it's a huge mess and they like put it to the forest again. So that kind of animal is really dangerous because it
afraid?
doesn't feel. Yeah, it's yeah. So it's this is the only situation, but otherwise, yeah, I we see a lot of wolves here, like really a lot, but never ever there was a attacking problem. Bison is much more dangerous, so if I see the bison, then I like walk back
Yeah.
fast, really.
Shy away from them. I mean, if they run you over, you're done. That's
Yes,
they're so
yes,
big.
they are massive. Yeah, they are like
So
really.
tell me a little bit about sort of the writing side of your work, because we've talked a little bit about sort of the art and how you make, but I'm wondering about some of the sort of uh, your approach to writing. I mean, you mentioned the idea of like show don't say, which is a
Mm-hmm.
common sort of theory
Yeah.
in the world of kidlit, but I'm wondering, is there uh, a method to your madness when it comes to writing?
Uh, So I feel more comfortable with those books without like a proper story, like a walk in the forest or when I am big. So those are like only thoughts put together in some kind of a chain. But there is no, like there is no main character, plot twist, and stuff like that. And I feel really good about those projects. And I wrote some stories, but from a time perspective, I can see that they are um, there is too many words.
Okay. So
And, of course, all of us, I would just, like change it. But um, I I feel more of an illustrator, so of course, I always start with an idea, and I think it's more like it's this parallel work where I fill up this word of idea with words and visuals, and it's a struggle, it's a huge struggle. I really love working with other authors' texts because I feel like it's some kind of really lovely frame, and and I can get just crazy inside of this frame. And when the text is mine, um, it's really, it's frustrating to find this point of, you know, like saying something with text, but without saying this in illustration, because I lose, of course, I lose perspective, and I don't know what like I have no fresh eyes, so those projects take much longer, because I need them to breathe like for a couple of months, and then I come back. So yeah.
Do you feel like the writing that you did for some of the A Walk in a Forest and some of the ones that are more not retrospective, but I guess more sort of quiet moments, do you feel like those are more like poetry? Do you feel like, do they feel more like a journal for you?
Yeah. Something like like maybe yeah, I would love to call it poetry, but I'm not sure if I should, but more of some tiny memories, like suggestions maybe, like I don't know, some kind of a gate to my world of imagination as a child.
Yeah.
So those Forest book is much more poetic than the other ones, because I had this with When I Am Big, and When I Am Bigger, I had this huge need of giving light and fun and some kind of understanding of a child imagination and soul, because, you know, like I wasn't a parent at that time when I was doing those books, but I remember that I was fascinated when I heard people talking about, you know, like how they sign up their children for, you know, like tennis, piano, English, Japanese,
Yeah.
test. And and I thought a lot about my childhood, and, you know, like me spending days doing nothing in a, you know, like, and I thought that it would be nice to have this this light and spontaneous ideas of those little people dreams, and but like taking them seriously. So yeah, it's like it's as all of the illustrators work, it's like really getting into the perspective of a child and being some kind of not a mentor, but like a guide,
Okay.
maybe.
Yep.
And
Do you
so yeah.
do you when you work and when you write and when you make all this stuff, do you show any of it now to your kids to see what their reactions are, or is it sort of
Yeah,
hope and pray that they like it later on? How much,
yeah,
yeah, how
but
much of a consultant role do they play?
Yeah, they like my work, but they have their own style and ideas. So I think because of living in the forest, they are they have enough. So
They,
they want they want construction books.
yeah. Well, they're at that age too, like 5 and 2.5.
Yes,
That's
yes, yes. So I'm
in the
not
normal.
pushy or something, and but yeah, I ask them if what they think about the story, um, but yeah, I think it's not they are not ready. Maybe not, I am not ready yet to to make it like a business meeting with them, and it's more of you know, like when they see that I am, you know, like start laughing, so they are getting more and more cruel, and you know, like I hate this,
Oh,
and yeah, what is it? It's not a fox. It looks like a cow, and you know, like it's of course they are joking, but yeah, it's
they're joking, but
but I use
things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I use my friends' children, so
Okay.
it
They're worried.
yeah,
The way that I look at it, like my son will try to get away with stuff at home because he knows that we have to love him at the end of the day. But when he's in front of a teacher
yeah,
or he's in front of someone that's an authority figure outside of us, he doesn't have the same approach. Let's put it that way. He's much more uh, follow the rules, and so that idea of uh, being in that environment, he is. There's times where I show him stuff and I'm like, "What do you think of this?" And he goes, "Uh huh," and that's all I get out of him now. There's no like that's cool or things of that sort because he knows that I at the end of the day I have to still like hug and kiss him whether he likes my work or
yeah,
not. And so
yeah,
I like the idea
yeah,
of using a resource outside of the house. Uh, find someone else's kids to question.
yeah.
Um, are you wrapping up here? I
Yeah,
see.
I have to be honest. Yeah, I first of all, it's like full, and it's yeah, it's I really wanted to do some ocean, but I think I cannot talk about I cannot talk about you know, like not yeah, I really there is an octopus somewhere here. I started with it, but
I
there
totally
is
forgot
one
about the
fish.
ocean. That's funny. I just
There is
totally.
one fish, and yeah, it's full of bugs, and yeah, I will post some good pictures of it, but yeah, I think it's an idea of an ocean.
Okay, I dig it. I dig it. Well, I know it is very very late there, and I appreciate you
Yeah,
taking the time, especially with little ones, because I know the little ones probably are hopefully have already gone to bed. I don't
yeah,
know.
they are.
Okay.
They will wake up.
Okay.
They will
Um,
wake up fine.
but I hope that you had a good time, and this was a lovely conversation, and I really did enjoy getting to meet you. And like I said, I am a huge fan of yours. When books roll out, I'm first in line to get those because we are just and I say we, my wife as well is she's away right now, but she is also a huge fan of yours, and so I appreciate you taking the time to join me tonight from the other side of the world or far away in the middle of a forest with critters banging at your door. Moths. There's a bunch of moths out there that are going to hunt you down now because of what you said. Yeah, they know. They know that you don't like them
They,
anymore. Um,
yeah, they will touch me. They will touch me on the way back home.
But I really do appreciate it, and I will be in touch.
Yes, yes, please do. And I really do hope that somehow our two ends of the world will meet somewhere in the middle and we will meet again. And thank you so much for having me. And good night.
Good night. Bye.
Ciao. Bye bye.
All right, folks. So, you saw my ceiling. Shh, it's up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working. I got some time to, I'm still figuring this thing out. I'm winging it, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I will, I'll switch to my downshoot here again in a second. But if people want to hang around and ask questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a Ask Me Anything in the comments here. And so this is really a conversation now. No longer with Maria Dek, who is fabulous, but now a conversation with you. And so anything that you want to ask me is fair game. And I actually have a question for you all. Let me just pin this. So let me switch my camera here. There we go. And get it back down where I can see the scene that's in front of me. And what I'm trying to figure out is what to do with this. I like the minimalism that's here. I'm going to just check and make sure that I got this on camera okay. Oh yeah, I don't even need to be that big. There we go, somewhere in that range. I like the minimalism. And thank you, TT Hoon, I'm guessing. That's my best guess, but thank you for the comment. A nice chat. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this. And the question becomes, do I want to have a figure in this space? Like, do I want to have a little kid of some sort? Do I want to do something? Originally, I was playing around, and I don't know if I like the idea yet, but of some sort of like weird little caterpillar that's walking through the space. So it's really just this like simplistic sort of color that runs throughout. And then it becomes a question of like, why? What's the purpose of having this caterpillar walk through this space? You know, so if it's like turning the corner, maybe it's a millipede that runs up through and it's lots of color. I don't know. Bear Edwards, missing a gnome. I mean, it could be, what if it's like, do we like, first of all, Bear Edwards, I'm going to ask you because you're always so participatory. That's a big word for me, but I did it. Do we like the idea of like some sort of colorful caterpillar? So what I was thinking is like, it could be something like this with like a little gnome or a little character on top that's riding it through this forest. And of course it would have little legs and things sort of walking along. And they would have patterns. And so I was playing around with this, but it's a little too like bright of a pink. It's too cold. And so I'm scrapping that one. I might try this color instead and see what happens if I introduce that color. But do I want to do something like that? Do I want to play, like, are these trees or are these plants? Are these, yes, I love the idea of a gnome riding. I'm trying to think if there's something, not just, because I've done gnomes a couple of times. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like a small character. And maybe it's just gnome-like, but that could be riding on something like this, and I could put other little bugs and things up in here. Or is it some other weird magical, just colorful thing? And the reason I say just thinking about portfolio, like, is there something else that I'm missing in my portfolio that would be fun to introduce? Is it some other mushrooms? Mishroomsy. I like mishroomsy. That sounds like some weird like elementary school teacher. And that's when Miss Roomsey said, blah, 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 whatever the fun comment is. Maybe just that idea of like, if I just make a bunch of these and I do different like subtle patterns on them and things of the sort, that it could really be like traipsing around and through and back, and some other little, like you said, like little mushrooms on things would probably be good. If I started it here, so like here's where the head is, and then maybe the little character right in here, and maybe there's other little characters up throughout. If I do this and then slowly creep this thing back over this way, like so, and then back out. Let's see, we'll figure out what we got. Frogs. What else? What are other small, like a little frog writing could work, because we were talking about frogs. We could talk about, I'm just trying, like, what other small, are there other fairies? I'm trying to think of other things that are like tiny, that could be doing something with some sort of weird little caterpillar. I feel like there's not too many options there. It is a lot of just gnomes. Let's see, if I put that one back in there, let's grab a different swatch of color here. Yeah, maybe it is just frogs. What if it's just a line of frogs? Whoa, wait a second. What if these are frogs and they're playing leapfrog? What do we think of that? And so they're like jumping over each other. A leapfrog chain. And these are the frogs themselves. Weird little round frogs. Is that weird? Is that too much? Love it. I'm not sure exactly how these are going to become frogs, but that idea of like leapfrog, and then the question is, can I get it to turn one more time? And so they sort of come off this way. But if not, even if it's just like more of a linear path, I mean, it could just be a bunch of frogs out in the space, and there's a couple of them just playing leapfrog. So it becomes this weird, like, sort of polka dotty. I like that. And so he's like planting. Okay, so let's figure out how we design these frogs. Because I like the circles. I like this craziness of the circles. So let's design some frogs that are circle based. So let's where's that? So if I have something like this, let's see. There's a question of like, do I need them to be less round of some sort? Gnome wrapper in a striped shirt. I love it very much. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if I draw frog that looks like this. This is the way my son drew a frog, and now I love it. Like this. Should I give them like pants? So they're all jumping over each other. I'm hopping to hot the Mad Mag show at the Rock. What? Oh, the Mad. I gotcha. Hoping at the Mad Magazine show at the Rockwell Museum. I did not follow you, Andy. There with, I'm hoping to hot the Mad Meg show at the Rock. Now I get it. I have not seen it. Kelly Light posted about it. It looked pretty awesome. I haven't had a chance to get down there, but I wonder if I should do like. I mean, I could do little pants on everybody, so I could just make a bunch of silly little frogs with pants that are jumping. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's like, is it more fun to do a silly shape that's wearing pants? Like this, and just do like lines. Heard I come from the same school of typing. Is it better to do frogs that are half circles? I like the idea of like of pants, but like weird little corduroys or striped pants of some sort. And then, do frogs have teeth? Does anybody know if frogs have teeth? That's what I need an answer to. Now we're talking. This is the kind of shape that I need. No teeth. Now we're getting there. We're getting there. No teeth. I think we got to be more abstract. Those are too refined. So I'll abstract them more. And so it can be a bunch of frogs that look like odd shapes, and they can have long arms. And silly bodies. Okay, I got it now. I got it. We're there. Numbers like runners wear for a leaping competition. For some reason, I want to like. I think part of it is I want to reference the Frog and Toad. And so that idea of that, so like 70s, 60s, 70s, sort of like vintage textures. I think that's where I want to sort of aim with it. But it doesn't mean I can't put a referee in. It could be just like a kid referee, kid frog. I still could have gnomes on top of them that are dealing with the jumping frogs. Let's see. So let's try cutting out one of these shapes and see what we get out of it. If I go and just there's one there. Let's try. Off topic. I'm headed to the Highlights Foundation on Sunday for a workshop retreat. Can't wait. Oh, I've never been there. Is this at the camp place that they have, or it's like I want to? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they had like cabins or something of the sort. But that does sound pretty awesome. I've never been, but it sounds pretty cool. I always when I was first starting out in illustration, I thought for a long time I thought you had to have done work for Highlights in order to do that. And I don't think that's true now. I think that they've opened it up, but I think originally there was some sort of like it is for people that have done it. but I think it's changed up at this point. Let's see. Okay. That sounds pretty awesome. Oh, you know what I should do? I should mention this while I'm on here. Okay. So, my friend and colleague, Aaron Dion, and I are planning on doing a week-long retreat for folks, a workshop. Oh, it's the cartoon everything. Oh, I didn't realize that's what it was. Okay, yeah. That's with Kelly in particular. So my friend Aaron and I are planning on doing a Kidlit retreat workshop thing in Ireland over next summer, and we are trying to figure out how much interest there is in doing it, and we are putting out feelers right now for sort of who has interest in going, and we have to figure out the cost, things of the sort, but it's not going to be I mean, obviously it's traveling overseas, so don't expect it to be the cheapest thing in the world, but also we're trying to keep the cost relatively low. There's some folks out there that are doing things that are somewhat similar, and so we're trying to like make sure that we're not too far off. But as we work out pricing and work out sort of people's vested interest in it, I have a link now to a Google form, so we can start collecting people's info that would like to be on a mailing list. So when we do get that information together, we're sort of ready to send it out to folks and say, hey, you want to go along? Here's the info. This is how much it costs. This is when it would be. Right now it is tentatively slated, I believe, for June 7th through the 14th. I think is what we're looking at. It's somewhere in that range. I don't have the info in front of me. And it would be staying at a lovely bed and breakfast called The Waters. That's in the Clare County in Ireland, and using the Burren College of Arts facilities. It would involve some trips, some tours taken around the area with some historians and some storytelling and whatnot, and some lectures and things of the sort. But if you have any interest in doing that, send me a DM and I will send you the link to the Google form. It would probably, my guess is we're talking, airfare would be on the people to figure out how to get over there, and people can stay longer or shorter outside of the time frame in their own setup, but we would have the B&B for the time that we were using it. My guess is the cost is going to come in upwards of, or somewhere above $1,000, somewhere $1,000. Look at it, cool. But that's also, again, remember, you're going over to Ireland, and you get to go. Non-pros can go, yes, absolutely. It's Aaron was talking with some folks at a outing the other day, and some folks that were pros were interested, but the idea is that anybody that's interested could go and use it as a workshop retreat. There'd be some lectures from me, some lectures from Aaron on the writing side, me on the art side, about sort of experimentation and how to come up with compositions and things of the sort. But if we have some other experts there, maybe we can figure out other ways to introduce. But yeah, it's open to basically anyone that would be willing to come over, pay for the class, and enjoy. So I'm not going to say no to it. If you think that you're interested, just let me know, because I think we would like to figure out how many people are interested, and that the more people that are interested up to a certain point, we were thinking like I think 12 max, something like that. But the more people that are interested, the easier it is for us to price it out and figure out how much it actually would cost everybody. So DM me if you have interest, and then just on Instagram is fine. And I will send you the link, and you can put in your info, or I can put it in for you. Basically, it's a very short Google form that just asks about your level of interest, asks your name, your email, and then sort of what experience you have, just so we know kind of as we get going along, sort of, is it a broad range of people we're teaching? Is it more experienced? Is it less experienced? All that kind of stuff will sort of come out of that. So that's enough of that, but I will share that information as we go along. It'd be fun to have a lot of folks go with us. Let's see. Can I make this into a leg? I think I can. Is COVID included, or is it? Ooh, how dare you? How dare you? It's not. It's. I don't even know where I got it. Like, I was trying to figure out the other day. Like, it wasn't a student, because none of our students had it. It wasn't. I mean, I guess I could have gotten it from a student who was asymptomatic, but my assumption is that, I'm trying to think, like, where we were in Galway the weekend before, and then I got it more towards the end of the week, which means I must have gotten it somewhere in between. Like, I wasn't in Galway when it happened, because the gestation period wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, I don't know where I would have gotten it, but it was really frustrating that I did. How about that? Cash me outside. How about that? I'm going to try to angle this little leggy here. I think this is going to be, I'm going to have the leapfrog happen like above this frog. Ooh, I don't even know if you can see that. It's off screen. Now, COVID tests, we could probably arrange for you to get those. The actual COVID. I mean, I can arrange for you to get COVID. I can make that happen. There's some way to do it. There's people I know. I have ins. I have the inside scoop. I just went to my doctor yesterday for a physical, and I mentioned that I had COVID. And they said, I don't have to give the COVID shot, the booster shot, for another 3 months. I'm from the date of having it. And I said, is there any issue with getting it beforehand? And he said, no. And he said, you're just not taking advantage of the immunity that you have from the thing. I'm like, who cares? I just want to be immune from it. Because what I got when I was there was rough. But no one else had it around that we knew, except for, well, not except for, just me, my wife, and the teacher, Erin. And I'm the one that got it first, so I got it from some stranger, some weirdo that came around and just coughed in my face. Here's frog number 1. Nope, this doesn't take too long. It's already 4:12. I'm just now starting some frogs. I have to be done by 6. So what kind of questions do people have? Give me questions. Any question. I don't care. It can be questions about life. It can be questions about cool things, about how I'm cool. There can be questions about anything. I don't have my wife upstairs to yell at me and go, well, or just, I don't have my wife upstairs yelling at me. That's the quick conclusion to that statement. I don't have her upstairs going like, ask everybody what they're watching, or those kind of statements. I did watch a movie last night that was called Mad Heidi, and I don't know what I think about it. It was weird. They called it Switzploitation, like Switzerland or something of the sort, and it was about the like children's character Heidi, but she lives in a town where it's sort of occupied by these like Nazi-esque guys who are trying to push cheese on people, and they want everybody to love cheese, and she ends up getting turning into a warrior that goes and takes them down. It was a weird movie. But if anybody's seen it, holler at your boy. Let's see this. I wrote an illustrated book, but I think I need an editor. Do you have recommendations on how to go about that? There are actually freelance editors out there that you can go hunt down. I don't know of names in particular. I mean, I know people that could do editing, but I don't know if it's specifically kidlit that you're looking for, things of the sort. But the price might be a little high, especially if you're looking sort of for freelance. But that idea of there are resources out there, and I forget if they charge by the hour or if they charge by the job. But I know one of the ladies I work with actually does it, and so if you want to DM me, I can find out from her if she'd be interested. I don't know what kind of capabilities she has in the sense of time and things of that sort, but that is something that can be figured out, I assume. The challenge is it does cost money, and so you know that it's not just a like, hey, do this for me as a favor. They're going to expect I'm not going to say a hefty sum, but you want to make sure that you pay them a fair, I can't say it, a fair wage. And so just be mindful that those kind of things add up over time. Would an editor be able to help get in touch with an agent? They might know an agent or two. The challenge is, I don't know as far as, well, first of all, let me get to TT Hoon. What kind of paper do I use? This is illustration board that I'm working on, but this is just tracing paper that I do all the color stuff on. As far as going back to the question of would an editor be willing or have the ability to get you in front of an agent? They're, of course, probably going to know agents. I just don't know about, is it kosher to do that? There are certain situations where it's probably just not appropriate to do that, especially at an agency. Sometimes there are requirements. But if they see something that's amazing and they're like, oh, this is the best book I've ever read, I got to show this to my friend, I can't say they wouldn't do that. But I, as the equivalent of like, if I see someone's work that I think is amazing, I don't think I would hesitate in showing it to someone that's in the industry. But there's no guarantee and that they would do anything with it. And I also, I'd be very careful because I don't want to show them everything just because of, I don't want to be putting pressure on them to somehow react to something that they didn't ask for. One of the rules that I heard early on is when you go to things like conferences and stuff like that, you never actually just give someone your portfolio or your manuscript or anything of the sort. They need to ask for it just because it's a courtesy thing that you don't, you want to make sure that they're in charge of wanting it first. Because if you just show up and go, hey, look at this, and shove it in their face, it comes across as potentially rude. So maybe an editor would, maybe they wouldn't. I won't be able to narrow that down enough to be able to tell you the perfect answer, I don't think. I don't know if that helped or hurt or whatnot. Hopefully helped. But I would look into the freelance editor thing, especially if you think you need editing. I mean, there's no reason why not to do that. And if it does turn into something or it does sort of spark a conversation about an agent, I don't see why that would be a bad thing. No. I'm trying to stick down all the parts of this stupid frog. That is challenging. To get it all to line up the way that I want it to line up, I'm going to have to do some trimming after the fact. Well, the kind of questions we got. I see there was something else there. Question. I just gotta stick that down before it comes up again. Okay. So the idea is they would ask before ever seeing any of your work. The editor or the agent? I don't know what you're 100% asking there. The rule of thumb is general. Like, I mean, if you go hire a freelance editor, it doesn't matter what your work is. If they say yes, then they're gonna work with you on it and hopefully get it up to speed. If you are dealing with for them to look at or to hand off your work to an agent, it would really, they're not just going to automatically hand something off. They're going to definitely want to peruse it first, and they may, even if they like it, they may not do that. I can't, don't quote me on the idea that they would somehow just immediately go, yes, this is perfect, I'm going to hand it off. They're going to have to like it too, to the point wherein they're willing to risk sharing it with someone who potentially didn't ask to see it. The whole idea of solicitation is always challenging in this industry. And that's one of the reasons why sort of agents are part of this equation, is that they are how do I put this? They tend to have a bigger say in the equation because, sorry, I'm looking for something here. I don't know what happened to it. All right, well, I'll make a new swatch. Agents tend to have a say in sort of who gets shown to editors and things of the sort, because they've built up those relationships, and they need to sort of, how do I put this? They want to make sure that what they're selling to a publisher, they've sort of given clearance to. Let's put it that way. I was asking in regards at the conferences, you said you wouldn't just show someone your work until they ask. Oh, I'm not sure how you would get in front of someone's eyes unless you share it. Okay, so that's a very, very valid question, because that doesn't, technically that sort of doesn't make sense if you just read it the way. What you don't do is the rule of thumb that I always heard, and this is something I sort of live by too, and I tell my students this too, is don't just walk up to someone and hand them their portfolio. Don't just go, hey, my name is, here's my portfolio. Have a conversation first. There's no reason why after the conversation's going well, you can go, I have my work here. Do you want to see it? That's different than walking up and just putting it in their face. You don't want to come across as, you want to build a relationship that is not just on sale. You're not just there to sell your work. You're there to sell you too. And so you need to essentially form that relationship wherein it is okay to get out your portfolio. What I've seen and heard a few times is people just walking in or up to an agent and just saying, can you take a look at my portfolio? Or to an editor or an art director and saying, can you look at my work? And that's going to be something that does sort of shut them down relatively quickly, because you're basically saying, I only want to form a relationship with you because you're going to get me what I want. Whereas if you can sort of have the conversation, find out if you're of the same mindset, if you like the same things, if you're, see a vision for yourself working together at some point, then when you go and you show them your work, they go, oh, this is also a nice person that I would like to converse with more beyond just a sort of business relationship. If that helps sort of make sense or contextualizes what I said before. It's just a matter of just be a nice person first, and then if they ask for it, great, have it ready. If you feel like you're at a point wherein you've had enough of a conversation and it's worth sort of pursuing the idea of showing them your work, you can always say, do you mind if I show you my work? Which is very different than just, can you take a look at my work first thing. As far as how I got my agent at a conference, and it was a career consult. wherein I went in and I was trying to figure out if I wanted to switch to Kidlit from editorial and things of the sort. And I met with this lady who is now my agent, and I was able to show her my portfolio in that case because it literally was an environment where she says, hey, I want to, you know, I'm here to help you. Show me your portfolio and I'll give you pointers, kind of thing. So there was no like, I mean, of course I did the schmoozing and I did the nice, like, hey, let's chat and things of the sort, but it didn't come with that preconceived notion of like, I'm just some stranger out of nowhere trying to show her my work. It was in a setting that was intended for me to show my work. And so getting yourself in those kind of environments is important as well, is to set yourself up to be able to show your work to people. And there's at most conferences and things of the sort, they have some sort of like consults or moments where you can take that time and do that. And so I took advantage of it and did it. Let's see, there's another thing here. How do the conferences work? You walk around with a portfolio and go to different booths? No, this is so the conference that I'm talking about in particular is a conference called the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators conferences. They are SCBWI. So if you look up scbwi.org, you will find it there all over the world. There's different conferences and there's different networks of people that do these conferences and do workshops and other things of the sort. They have a bulletin board, they have critique groups, they have all sorts of stuff. Back in the day, they do them online now, some of them, but there are a couple of them that are still in person. The one that I went to was a in-person one at the time. It was in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's the New England chapter of the conferences. Let's put it that way, or yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. But I went to that, and then what it is it's a lot of workshops, honestly. It's not a conference. It's not like a Comic-Con. It's not, here's a booth and you go up to it and you talk to someone. It is a workshops and panels and things of the sort. And you go and you bring your stuff with you, of course. And there'll be opportunities to talk to people, but some of the things that you do at this conference or those kind of conferences is you learn. So you go, it's meant to be a learning sort of environment. And so giving yourself the opportunity to get in front of agents and art directors and things of that sort that show up at that happen in those, but it's not necessarily they sit at a booth and wait for you to come around. It's more so like the environment that I've been in, ones like most of the great conversations that I've had with people tend to be honestly after the classes, and you go to the bar or you go to an environment, you go out to a restaurant and there's some folks there and you talk to them and you find out someone's an agent or you find out someone's an art director, and all of a sudden you have a lovely conversation about life and what you do and what you're interested in doing and things of that sort. And it sort of organically happens. AJ, who just wrote saying he's been driving around and listening and popping in. AJ goes to the conference that I do, and he's met with some of the agents there and done the same thing, and can testify to the fact that like it's really about forming bonds with people and trying to invest in relationships first, and then trying to navigate the business side of it. I'm just seeing AJ's comment there. And so, if you want to go to these environments and spend some time chatting with people, that's going to get you the editors and agents and art directors and things that you want. And so really spend the time, put the investment into building those relationships. The more that you network, the more that you workshop, the more that you do group critiques or crit groups and go to events, outings, that kind of stuff, that's going to make a huge difference. Are there other questions? Things that I can answer? Are we getting to dinner time? Because my cat is all of a sudden down here screaming at me. We're not to dinner time yet. There's going to be that frog, and I'm going to have some other frogs watching. Oh, I did that the wrong way, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. Can I please save the live? I have to go back to work. Yes. You are Miriam. UX Miriam. Yeah, I can't. I need reading glasses, apparently. Yes, I saved the feed on my feed. So after this is done, it'll be there for you to find. As well, I posted on YouTube the following day. So probably on Saturday, I will post this up to YouTube, or maybe tomorrow, depending on what my schedule looks like. And so you will have access to this in perpetuity, as they say. Who says that? They say that. But you will have access to it. And you can go back and if there's other ones that you want to watch, my YouTube has other ones from previous guests. I try to post them up somewhere around Saturday to Sunday. And so I was trying to figure out how many I have on there now. I have probably upwards of like 20, 25 that are up there now. Maybe more than that, honestly. That I've been doing this long enough and whatnot that, I mean, I've done over 100 of these easily now, just throughout the years, because I do one a week. But on YouTube in particular, I think I have, I'm going to guess probably about 25, maybe 30 that are up there, because I haven't been doing the YouTube side of it for as long. Yes, question. When is the next Crit Group meeting? I don't know. A meaty meet. We need to figure that out. I was away the last time, or no, what was it that was happening? Oh, I was prepping to go overseas last time that we had some get together, and so I need actually advice on how to crop down my the story that I shared last time. My agent wants it shorter, so I need to shorten it up. But I don't know. I got to plan sometime. I have wisdom teeth coming out in about a week and a half, somewhere in there, and so I may be out of commission for a little bit because of that too. But we will see. Samir, Nami, something of that sort. AJ and I are in a crit group together, and so we're it's for people that are local to our area, and so there's a handful of us that meet. I don't know, every couple of months. Probably should be more than that, sooner than that, but it's hard to get everybody's schedules to line up. And so just every area, especially if you go through something like SCBWI, every area has its resources and crit groups and things of the sort. And so if you just look on there, my guess is you'll find that there's some in fact, every region of the world has a representative, one that's a writer side and one that's a illustration side, and they help organize and structure and whatnot. And if you write the one that's the appropriate one for you, they might be able to point you in the direction of some groups that are in need of, or could help you out with crit and things of the sort. I know that online, if you just even post on their bulletin board at points, hey, I'm in this area, I'm looking for a crit group. Does anybody know of any or want to start one? That sometimes you can do that. And online, of course, is another huge source. Depending on, meeting in person is always fun, just because you get to sit down and have lunch or whatever it may be, and and talk work. But I do think that the idea of just getting together with people is the heart of it. And so if it has to be online, it has to be online. That's okay. That's so fun. Is it just organized by the individuals? Yes. Yeah, generally. So like if you don't have anybody in your area or you're in need of a crit group, I tell my students this all the time. Like once you leave the collegiate environment, you know, we have all these crits and all this like working together and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden they go out in the world and there is no one out there but them. Like there's no reason why you can't start a crit group and post some signs around and say, hey, I'm looking for people to meet with and talk about my work. And is there anybody out there that has some interest in doing this? And more than likely you'll get a few folks that say, yes, please, I need it. I need it. I've had quite a few people sort of talk to me about different crit groups that they'd like to start and things. I just don't know where everybody lives, but I also don't want to be the person to have to constantly organize for everybody else. You know, I don't want to be the one going, yeah, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. And so it's a matter of just, you know, put some stuff up around in your town. Go online, ask. Put a thing up if you're on Instagram here. Put a thing up that just says, I'm looking to start a crit group. You know, online is okay. Who's interested? Or, you know, reach out to the people that you particularly like their work and just say, hey, I'm starting a crit group. Do you have any, you know, I would love you to be part of it if you have time. It's as simple as that. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do like any other. I don't know if this is on here completely, but I'm thinking one big yellow guy here, and he'll have little eyes that poke up. I've done frogs quite a bit, honestly, now that I think about it. I've done quite a few frog-related pieces, but so I'll do some little eyes on this guy like this. Some big tall eyes. I think it's funnier to have tall eyes. And close together too. That feels funnier to me. Roxy Lynn, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out, I don't like this little, there's one little spot on this color that I don't particularly like. But I don't know if I have a lot of options here. Be able to play around with that color because I don't have a ton of that color left. Let me see if I have any other straps that are close. That's not too bad. It's sort of subdued, but I might be able to. Let's see. I like the idea of it being a little bit bigger yet. So let's see what happens if I do this. What happens if I do something here like so, and then I can use this to make little eyes that pop up. I just want that wider chunk. I don't think I need that tall, so let's get more of that pink that's in there. Let's see. So, Samir Nami, would you mind if I reached out to you via DM to ask about your editor, about the editor you may know? Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. It's someone who does freelance editing and things of the sort. It's not necessarily an editor at a publisher that I know that does that. But I'm happy to send along some information and just say, hey, here you go. I don't know how much she charges either. I just know that she's done freelance editing in the past. So it's worth asking at least. There's no harm in asking. Especially because I know her and she's very nice. She's come to me. She's done some stuff with freelance editor or editing, and then the clients that she works with say, hey, I want to find an illustrator, and then she asks me about it, and I have to tell her like the cost or the person she's working with tell them the cost, and most of the time that shuts them down very quickly, and they go, "Ooh, that's too expensive." But on the illustration side, but I can't tell you because I didn't ask the other direction and go, "Well, how much do you charge for editing?" She might charge a fortune. She might charge nothing. Parkour, like that meme, the office meme. I think this one's kind of like throwing the other one a little in my head. I think that's what's happening there. But my fingers are very sticky. Sticky. I'm trying to think if there's other editors I know that would be. I don't know. I mean, I could also say, if there's any editors watching that want to pick up freelance work, there is someone that is going to be DMing me who is looking for some freelance editing potentially. And I doubt that there's a lot of editors watching. It's more art folks that tune into this. But you never know. You never know. Out of curiosity, Samir Nami, am I saying that right? Samir Nami? Samir. I'm not sure how to say it. I'm trying to figure out how to break it apart because I know it's probably more than just a singular name. But one of the questions I have for you that would be helpful is just sort of wondering, how long is it a kid's book? Is it a picture book? Is it a chapter book? Young adults? Is it middle grade? Is it a early reader? Et cetera, et cetera. And then also, how many words is it right now? Because you're gonna want, if it's a picture book, they say up to 1,000 words, but that's long. I generally try to stay in the like three. Samir Naimi. Samir Naimi. I probably massacred that too, but I try to stay around the 300 to 500 range if it's a picture book. It depends on like what sources you look on online. Some of them are, you need less than that. Some of them are, you need more than that. But to me, that's sort of the ballpark for what makes sense for my work. I tend to go over it quite heavily at the beginning and then have to pull back and say, okay, that's too many words. How do I, subdue that in some manner? Let's get out there. I'm trying to think if there's any other like. It also, it depends on the type of book too. Like if you have a book that's really historical, or not historical, but sort of factual, a biography or things of that sort, you might have to put in more words just because of the content. So it really just depends on the book, but I would try to, shorter is better. Show, don't say. What other kinds of questions do we got? I don't like how big these are. I'm going to have to cut these down even smaller. Maybe I will. Get them in here first. Glue them down and then come back and figure out how to do this. Maybe on this side. More fun to me. Everything's about fun. Can I make it more fun? So if I stick him over here, it seems like he's leaning more to me. Okay, so let's make these smaller first before I stick that down. So let's go in here and cut these guys down. quiet around here right now. So I don't got my wife. I don't got the dogs in the house right now. They're at doggy daycare. They're upstairs barking the whole time. It's just me and my thoughts, which is a dangerous combination. I don't know why I said it that way, but I did. So deal with it. Let's see. I need so many scraps. So many scraps. I only need so many scraps. One eye. And then another eye. What other questions we got, folks? There's got to be more questions. There's eye. They're going to have whites to their eyes, and they're going to have big mouths and whatnot, but at least get that in there. And then I wonder, should I do a guy up here, like another one that's jumping down, sort of like coming down towards the ground here, sort of like flying this way. And so it's like a big continuous loop of leapfrog. That could be kind of fun, actually. Big continuous loop of leapfrog. Everybody's having a good time. Big continuous loop of leapfrog. Everybody's having a good time. So if I put this in here like so, and then have this guy coming down this way. Boing, boing, boing. Frogs flying through. Everybody do it. Oh, you know what else I should mention? That's about 600. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You didn't, is it handwritten or is it in the computer? If it's in the computer and you're using something like any sort of Word document, most of the time you can just do a word count. There's a up under. I just hope you don't have to go and count it by hand every time. That's all I'm worried about. In the like in Word or Google Docs or things that. Oh, you laid it out in InDesign. Oh, that's the problem. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's a word count in InDesign. There might be. I'm glad that you laid it out in InDesign. That's even better though, because a lot of people don't know how to use InDesign. InDesign's wonderful. What was I gonna say? Shoot. 600 words is pretty good. That's not a bad number to play with. You know, that's in range, so no one's gonna look at that and go like, that's way too many words. They might still say like, hey, you need to trim a ton. But that isn't. It's not necessarily that it's like out there. And I thought you were gonna come back and it was gonna be like 2,000 words. I was gonna be like, no. So totally reasonable. I drew a frog here that I really like, and so maybe what I'll do is I'll put that one up there, and I'll make another frog. I drew this frog, which I love. I probably like this frog more than I like that frog, but I got to get them both in there, I think, if I can. And then I got to do all the details at work. Let's see. InDesign, unfortunately, only counts words one paragraph at a time, unfortunately. But I think I can get a script that does the whole book at once. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know enough. Like I lay stuff out in InDesign, but I don't know enough about sort of InDesign's the tricks when it comes to something like that. I just don't know. And so, yeah, if you have the capability of managing that, InDesign is fantastic. And so use it. I want a arm for that guy that comes down, and this one might have to do. It's not quite as long as I want, but I can probably get there. Let's see, I need this guy smaller yet. He's just scared of this guy leapfrogging up above him here. 13,000, yeah, that is a long book. I think there was one that I wrote that was just above 1,000, and I was like, oh, I'm really pushing it with that. I didn't even show that one to my agent because it was too much, too long of a book. But that being said, I think that is probably, that is a range that you could definitely work with. I had that darker black on that one that I like back there. I wonder if I can get, maybe this guy has this for pants, and then something a little bit darker, richer on this guy up front, even. Just as, can I get a swatch that goes across this? Is it wide enough? Yeah, I think I can. Let's see. Samir Naimi. My favorite picture book right now. So I have a favorite picture book illustrator that I tend to. Now, all the people I have on here, I'm going to preface this by saying all the people I have on here are all my favorite picture book illustrators. So it's not that there's one that's better than the rest. But the one that I've sort of gravitated to recently that I'm fascinated by their approach is Naomi Vola, who does I don't know, weird esoteric books. I don't know, they're very strange in their take. And so I just more and more I'm gravitating towards work that's like just weird. And I think partially because that's the kind of work that I like to make. Sam is fine. Oh, that makes it so much easier. Oh, Sam, I'm right there with you now. Naomi, I really love Maria Dek. I mean, Maria Dek, who was on today, work is amazing. Give me one second. I'm going to blast this with a hairdryer. Here's the problem of working with collage. When you blast something with a hairdryer, you lose all your pieces you're working with. I just sprayed them all over the place. And so hopefully there was nothing that I needed that went flying. I'm trying to think of all the different, I mean, go back, basically, if you want to know who my favorite picture book illustrators and authors are, go back and look at all the Gavin Doodles, and you will see a list of names that are fun and fabulous. I don't invite down anybody that I don't like. And so you can just go through, and my guess is you'll find some people that you haven't seen their work, some people that you know their work for sure. We've had everything from people who are first time published to Caldecott winners, etc. A favorite overall book. Okay, it's one of two books. It is either a book that was written by Adam Rex and illustrated by Christian Robinson called School's First Day of School. I think that one's really good. It's about a school who is nervous about all the kids showing up on the first day, which I think is just a great idea in general for a book. The other one that, there's a book that I really, really love. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I'll see if I can find it real quick. Give me a second. I'll see if I can find both of those. School's First Day of School might be harder to come by because it's probably hidden in my book. My wife yells at me because everything is not alphabetical, and so it's very hard to find stuff. But this book, let me see if I can find School's First Day of School. I use it all the time on the first day of school. I bring it in and share it with people. May not be able to find that one in a reasonable amount of time, and so I may skip that one for now. Let's try to look real quick. Sorry, if I can find it in a matter of a few seconds here, I will bring it over. But it's a question of the stuff gets moved around so often that it might take me too long to hunt it down here. One last little look. See if I can find it. Oh, there it is. I found it. Beautiful. Okay. So these are up there, and for two different reasons. Okay, here we go. So, favorite book that I like to read to kids, and I say kids meaning college kids, in my classes is School's First Day of School. It's, like I said, it's Christian Robinson and Adam Rex. Adam Rex, who also illustrates his own, but wrote this one, and it's really about a school. Let me see if I can find the picture of the school. So you can see it basically has a little face on it, and it's the school being worried about all these little kids showing up and talking to the janitor or the guy, the custodian, who's there to fix up the school before the school starts, and then having a conversation afterwards. And it's a nice little lovely like sort of moment. The other one I really love because of the writing, and I think the simplicity of it. This is a book called I Can Only Draw Worms by Will Mabbitt. And as far as I know, Will Mabbitt is not an illustrator. And so he wrote this book about how it's just about worms and silly little drawings of worms. And there's not much to it, but just the writing is so funny. And it's just, I mean, that's basically the joke, is that it's like just some worms and the writing's so good. And so it's for, I like, both of them have very good concepts. The School's First Day of School is very sweet and lovely. And then Worms, I Can Only Draw Worms is sort of silly and esoteric and farcical in the way that it's written, makes it feel like it really doesn't matter the fact that it's just worms. It's the jokes in it, and the premise of it is so strong that like it doesn't even, the quality of the drawings are not the star of it of any sort. And so I like that one more for the writing side. There's a couple other artists and things that I love, but those two are really, really good. John Clausen's, what's it called? The Rock, the Sky, the Rock, the something. Oh, I have it over there too, but I'm not going to hunt it down because it will take too long. If anybody is listening and knows the one I'm talking about, is another great one about pacing. So if you want to learn about pacing and the page turn, that is one that I recommend to a lot of people, saying like, read this, it's so good. So anyways, that's that. That's that. There. The Rock from the Sky. Yes. Thank you. That's the one. I don't know. Did you know that book in particular? It is such a good. If you know that the rock that fell from the sky, or the rock from the sky, I forget the exact title. If you know that one, it is superb in the pacing and the page turn. Like, it's just so good. In fact, yes, you Googled the name to get it right. It is sort of one of those ones where, like, I show it to students who are interested in not only Kidlit, but students who are interested in just good storytelling, because the pacing is just so strong. I was supposed to, and I don't know when it will happen, but I was supposed to have John Clausen on here at some point. I know he said, write me, and then we just haven't conversed since. But someday. Trying to get my little, here's my guy back here that's going to be under threat. And then I had his little arm, which was here. And what I'm going to do is make his arm out here like this. And so he's like worried about this one. And then this guy's going to be planting off his head. But now I just realized I have so many that are over on this side. Maybe I need one more little froggy somewhere. I figured it out. It's 5 o'clock. My son's home. So what other kind of questions do we have? How else can I help? Are there things that I can help with? Are there questions that I can answer? We'll get some of these stuck down here. And is that the right color? That is the right color. Okay, let's see. Unrelated question, kind of long. That's fine. Go for it. Hit me with the question. I'll try to give an answer. I'm a graphic designer by trade, also a graphic design professor. I didn't really have any social media for my work. I've been wanting to do it, but want to share wider. Oh wait, but I want to share such a wide variety of things that don't necessarily go together: graphic design, art, children's book making, stuff, etc. So your question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is your question sort of, is it okay to show a bunch of different things? And if so, how do you put them together? Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to share everything in one place because they're unrelated. So, understandable. I get the sentiment. I hear it a lot of times from students, particularly just that idea of like not sure how to convey everything they want to do on a page or on a website or on their social media because it feels disjointed. I challenge that as an idea, not because I think it's not a valid question, but I think the question actually is it actually unrelated, or is the problem that potentially, and forgive me for sort of asking this in this crude manner, but is it actually related and you're just not able to see the relationship or have not thought about the relationship in a way that is appropriate, in the sense that like some people will have a variety of different things. Like if we look at someone like a fine artist and they happen to have a sculpture and a painting and things of that sort on their page, do we look at it and go, oh, it's also different and how dare they show these together? Or do we go, oh, they're a fine artist and so they're allowed to have variety, right? I tend to think that if you look deep enough at your work, you're going to find things that are connected. So like if I look at my work, all of my work, I don't care if it's stuff for Kidlit, if it's stuff for clientele, if it's stuff for galleries, etc., it all has a thematic thing that is the connective tissue for it all. And I'll get to your follow-up question here in a second when I answer this. The idea that my work is textural, my work is about color, right? That's the thing that holds it all together. And so I think if you start to go and say to yourself, oh, does it have to be does it have to be the same type of work through it all? I don't think it does. I think you have to look at it and say it needs to be consistent in the type of messaging that's happening, but not necessarily that the message has to be the same every single time. And so going back to it and looking at your work and saying, okay, what is the through line that happens in all of it? If it's graphic design, like if you're an illustrator, is your stuff design oriented? My guess is it probably is, right? If you're a designer, my guess is that all your illustration stuff probably has a sense of design that pops up in it, right? I think if you are someone who loves, layout, that's going to show up in your Kidlit designs. So there's these notions that I think once you wrap your head around the idea that there's variety that's allowed in it, you give yourself a lot more freedom to be able to play as an illustrator. Now, the question about shouldn't it all like match or feel samey, especially on something like social media. I think it boils down to how do you want to frame yourself as an artist? If you want to frame yourself as someone who has a wide variety of work, I can go point to a lot of people I've had on here and artists in general that all of their work looks very, very different from project to project. And it's just a matter of they change their style on the regular, they change their approach, and that is sort of their aesthetic. Their aesthetic is actually not the individual project. Their aesthetic is the totality of what they do, and is the variety in which they allow themselves to work. And so, yeah, there is potential that some client might come and say, hey, your work is too varied and crazy, and I don't know what to expect out of you. And then you might get someone actually who comes to you and goes, wow, your work is really playful and fun and interesting, and I really want to see what you do with this project because I don't know, or I don't have an expectation of what I'm supposed to get. And so all of a sudden you sort of open that door to potentially more variety or more of a wiggle room, let's say, as an illustrator, to be able to play around with something that's sort of unexpected. So I would go back and I would really look at all your work and say, okay, what is that? Again, go back to that idea of what is the through line? What is the thing that actually is holding all your work together? And I'm sure there is one. And if you don't see it, you might ask some other people to sort of take a look and see if they see anything that is the sort of the thread that holds it all together. And once you figure out what that is, then you start to say, okay, how do I make my work consistent thereafter? How do I start to, connect those things? No matter what the project is, I make sure that I hold on to some of those aspects in every project that I do. Now, obviously, if it's for a client, you have to figure out ways to make that work. You can't just go and say, well, I'm only doing texture stuff, and your client comes and says, I want it to be flat, right? Well, you got to figure out ways to sort of like, can it be texture but also have shape? And so it feels more flat because of the shape orientation that you do with it. Is there, there's all sorts of ways to be able to do that. But I see, Sam, yes, that's good advice. It's probably the same advice I would give my students. It's probably mostly just that I have trouble sharing my work at all, and it's an excuse. I think, you know what, I wouldn't say that it's an excuse. I think it's a question that all of us have. I have questions all the time. Like, as much as I feel like I'm, I put out an air of confidence sometimes in this social media world, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time too. And I some of it is just experience and years that have helped me get sort of to where I am, but that doesn't mean that that's there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of scare factor that comes into every decision I make, and I'm going through those same battles all the time, questioning, is this the right move? Did I choose the right, aesthetic for this book? Is this, is the agent gonna be upset with me if I try to change this, that, or the other? Those kind of questions are going to be around from now till the end of time for most artists. And so I think if you can just get to a point where you go, I'm always going to be dealing with this, so I need to move on from it, because there's no easy workaround. There's no moment of clarity that this is all going to make sense. Then it's sort of like, you're not Sisyphus anymore, trying to push the boulder up the hill because it's always going to fall back down. So maybe you don't need to go up that same hill. Ooh, that's a good metaphor there. Maybe you don't need to push that boulder up the hill. Maybe you don't even need to push the boulder at all. Whoa, mind blown. Again, I hope that sort of helps, but I think, if you're a professor and you hand off that information, I know that I say stuff in class all the time that I'm like, this is what you got to do. And then I get home and I go, I don't know what to do. I think that's just artists in general. I say to students all the time in my classes that no matter who they think has their act together as an artist, they don't. That the world itself, the way people work, we all question our sanity on a regular basis as artists. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put these. 2 little legs here, and then 2 little feetsies that are going to be sticking out behind them. Like this. Maybe the boulders, the friends you made along the way. I don't know about that. That's a bit too cheesy for my liking. I get it. I know that you're playing around with it as a joke, but man, oh man, that's a lot. That's a lot of cheese in one setting. Trying to think if there's any other little fun snippets. I don't know. Any other questions from folks? Brad Rhodes, I'm not even going to acknowledge what you just wrote. That makes it sound like it's dirty or something, but it's not. It's just, it doesn't deserve recognition. Brad Rhodes, when are we going to meet at some point? Remind me, where are you located again? Why do I feel like you're in I know I've asked this probably 15 times. I want to say you're either in Philly or you're in hell. You're in. I got to say you're in. Or you're in Colorado or St. Louis or something. Tennessee for the 15th time. That is right. Oh man, it is bad that I just can't remember. And then it's you're in I was gonna make some joke of another location in Tennessee I knew it was Nashville. I was gonna make a joke about I was trying to think of a town that's totally the opposite of Nashville. That was I don't know, what's the opposite town of Nashville? What's the opposite of Nashville? That's actually a good question somewhere. What's the opposite of New York City? It's not just LA, because LA is I know it's a location, it's distant away, but like, is there a city that is the antithesis of New York City? Obviously small, like dinky little town, but like, it's got to be something that's not a happening place altogether. It's got to be potentially nice that has very few streetlights. That's the meat of it. Okay, I need a couple little arms here. Go like this. One that comes this way like that. And then one more. Goes out. Ooh, that's not long enough. Let me try a different one. So I posed the question to you. No one's answering it yet, but what is the opposite of New York City? And someone can answer that. When does school start? Not even answer. When does school start back up? I think my school starts back. I mean, my first day of class is on the 29th of August. But I think we have meetings like the week before. So in a couple of weeks, honestly. I just spent all day yesterday doing my syllabus for a single class. Like it took me almost 8 hours to put together the syllabus because it is a co-taught class, so I'm trying to do it for another person also. And I was using a pre-existing syllabus that the courses run with, but I could not stand the design in which they made the previous person put together. I will not name said person, but it was pretty horrendous. Sam would appreciate it. It was just colors and typeface, and it was a mess. And so I spent a majority of the time making lots of design corrections and making it so it was aesthetically pleasing to look at and not horrendous. Part of it was they just used like fluorescent colors everywhere, and so you just couldn't actually understand what you were looking at half the time. And so that was a majority of my time. Okay, let's see. 5:17. Now it's time to get in here and start to do the detail work, which is get a lot of this junk out of the way. Got most of it down there. Get that out of the way. Okay, so let's get in here and let's start putting in the detail. Get some cheeks on some of these guys. Let's get there's is it this one? Yeah. That's I was going for a minimalist thing at the beginning, but now it's turned into a little less minimalist and more maximalist. I need to put in the whites of the eyes on these. Let's see. Sorry, hold on. So let me get these. What's these eyes here? Let's get phone coming up. It's coming up. Okay. Let's get in here with the black pencil. Give these guys some. Oh, I forgot there's a frog here that needs. Do you find that Posca white is opaque enough? Mine is always so runny and clear. If it comes out clear, shake it like crazy, and you can feel it too. But it's the pigment inside is separating, and so it can actually be very, very opaque, as long as you put it down thick, and if you shake it before you use it. Most of the problem why mine isn't going down great is because I didn't spend the time doing that that adjustment. And so that's the issue at hand. I'll put these in with just a little bit of pink there like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with, shoot, I'm trying to work quick here. Get this put together because I got to be done with it in 40 minutes max. Edwards, you're gross. Again, we got to meet up at some point. So you're gross, but gross in the right way. I don't know if people know Kyle Bodette. Or is it Tom Bodette here? No, Kyle Bodette is a illustrator on Instagram who does really gross imagery like potty humor and people with diarrhea and things of the sort. And I was thinking it'd be funny if we did a co-host a Stinktober this next holiday season. Instead of me just being the one doing the Stinktober, I could get other people that do gross stuff to join into the fun, because that's basically all he does is gross. A lot of times rats exploding and exploding with digestive issues, put it that way. And so he might be a very appropriate one to add into that. His drawings are so gross. I mean, they're over the top gross. They're pretty nasty. All right, give me this hair dryer here for a second. I don't know if you'd be interested either, but you could always reach out and see. Okay, let's see. Now that I have enough so I can do mouths here. Let's see if I can get like a giant mouth on this guy. And then one, like, I'm trying to figure out how to cut this so it matches that angle relatively. Get a little bit smaller. Let's see if I can get it up in there in a way that works. It should work. There's a frog mouth there, one there, and one there. Okay. Cut this down a little bit smaller. I just have more wiggle room. Big. I never see the constipated poodle rail. This guy, what was his name? Whose name? Whose name are we trying to remember? There's one there. And the last one. Trying to figure out how to get this one in here. Oh, Kyle Baudet. Beaudette, I think. Don't quote me on that. I may be way off my spelling, but his stuff is just gross and out there. But every time I see it, I giggle inside. So, which is maybe the whole point of his work. And I think he's a teacher too. I think he teaches, if I remember correctly, he teaches something like elementary school. Or something. I feel like he teaches young. Maybe it's like middle schoolers or something of the sort. And so like it's even funnier to me that like that's his thing that he does. If it is young, I could be wrong. If anybody looks it up, tell me. I would love to remember whether he's teaching the youth of tomorrow and then going home and drawing diarrhea. Like, I know a lot of people that don't like gross drawings and potty humor and whatnot, but like, his stuff is so over the top that it's kind of hard not to say that it's good because it is so jarringly gross. Okay, let's see, where are we time wise? Okay, I got about a half an hour left. Get all this done. I gotta draw spots on them all. I gotta put their toe lines in. I gotta do all sorts of stuff on these guys. But the main thing is getting this stuff in, and then I can work on the rest. This is old springy leg Jim. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's see. So let's get some eyeballs in these suckers. That's a bad mark to use. I want some work. I also need to cut two little things here. Cut that little edge off and cut this edge off. There we go. I'll come down here. I'll get this guy's eyes in here. It's a little over the top. That's the whole point. Like it's so over the top that I'm like, it's just so humorous to me because it's so jarringly over the top. He doesn't hold back. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to grab something that's in that purpley shade there. I just need to find my colors that will work. I just pulled something up I didn't mean to. What other questions we got, folks? Do people ever join me on my live draws with you or just the people you've scheduled? Wait, what? Hold on. Do people ever join your lives and draw with you or just people? Just the people I schedule. We have a list of people that come on at the beginning of the month. I put up a list of who's coming on for the month because we schedule them out a ways. So like next week we have Carter Higgins. The week after that we have Lala Watkins. September, I forget who's first. I know that we have X-Fang. I don't even know what X-Fang's real name is. Just know him as X-Fang. Coming on. We have, it really depends on the sort of schedule of people, but we try to manage it so they get on relatively soon after we request them to be on. But we have folks from the Kidlit world that generally are published on. There's a rare instance where we'll have some people on that are not Kidlit specific but are adjacent. But we're booked out for, I don't know, quite a ways, honestly. At this point, it's kind of ridiculous, the amount of upkeep. There's been a few instances where I've had my son on because the person that was supposed to be on dropped out at the last second. I need someone to fill in, and I don't have time to find someone. It's just fun because my kid is of an age where you can draw some fun stuff and we have silly conversations. I don't know, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that's on that isn't necessarily pre-planned. For the most part, it's all pre-planned. There's a point where I still haven't done it yet, but I'll answer your question in 1 second. There's a point in time where I was talking about doing one with students that I have as a promotional thing for the school, for not promotional, but admissions event, where we have on students to do this, and then the admissions team would reach out all to the prospective students, and they could, or the high school students, to say, if you want to tune in, you can watch what the professor and the active students are working on. But I have yet to do that. At some point I need to do it. It's a matter of just arranging some stuff with the admissions team to get it to happen. But it is something that is in the works at some point. We just need to nail down the date and do it. But yeah. Okay, so what is when you join SCBWI, what does it come with? Now I'm not, be mindful, I'm not their spokesperson in the sense of I don't know exactly everything that goes with it, but what I have found is that, one, it gets you some membership options as far as like you can get access to conferences and workshops that not everybody gets access to. You can get cheaper deals on some of the things. A behind the scenes sort of bulletin board where you can chat with other people in the industry. You can get, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's some sort of newsletter thing, but I don't ever sign up for that. I just don't need more mail constantly. But there's some stuff that's like, you can get a magazine or an online magazine that they have, which is fine. It's just not I don't really read that kind of stuff to begin with. And then gets you just a network, essentially, which is the big draw for most people, is that they're no longer just sitting by themselves, sort of wondering, how do I do all of this, that they now have people that they can chat with and converse, saying, how do I do all this? The things that I use it for at this point is primarily that sort of deals side of things, just because it gets you access to things that you may not naturally get access to. And so to me, that's enough of a selling point. But there isn't a huge, like, where you get a brand new car and things of that sort. That's not the gist of it. But are the people that I have on my lives generally members? Not necessarily. A lot of people I have on the lives here are just people in the Kidlit community. There's quite a few of them that probably are, but I wouldn't say that they all are. There's a lot of people that don't necessarily join that of any sort. There were quite a few years where I wasn't, and then years where I was, and actually I probably will let mine lapse now because the conferences are online, and so there's less of a need for the deals that come with it. And so I will probably put more of my money into the travel to the conferences versus the sort of online resources. Part of it is I've built up enough of a little connection here with folks that I feel like I don't need the conferences in the same way that I once did. I need them in a different manner. Like, I need them for writing. And so I'm more interested in the workshop side of things than I am the meeting agents and that side of it. But it really it depends on the person, what they need and what they want to get out of it and what you can get out of it. Some of that also just depends on you having some outreach, some go get it kind of attitude of, now's my opportunity. I'm going to go out there and sell myself. Those kind of moments. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate here while I do that. I think the membership is $80 a year, something like that. It's not an outrageous price, but again, if you're trying to start out, I think it's a great resource. If you're somewhat established, I don't know if it has as much reward. Where you get, I think where most people get the reward early on is the education side of it all. It just gets you people and it gets you in front of people. As far as like later on in your career, again, you probably already have met people at those events, and so it becomes again less to me about meeting people and more about like just networking, if anything, and staying in touch with people. But that's not, I don't know if it's worth the price for me personally, just for that end of it. But I would suggest anybody starting out definitely look into it, because there is some real value there, especially if you're on like the early writing side, or you're trying to sort of pick up some tips and tricks for how to put together your book or pitch it to people and that kind of stuff. Let's see. Sam, yes, of course. Send me that DM. I'd be happy to pass it along and see if we get any interest. Again, I make no guarantees for the editor's ability to time-wise or interest, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Sure, so it's maybe a little bit more gray. I mean, I guess I could use this. Ooh, that was too much. Where are we time-wise? 5:45. We'll get there. We will get there. Like this one. Wrong color. That's what I want. Where's my brush? What a weird image. You never know going in what we're going to end up with. And then we end up with stuff like this. These do look a little bit like weird mushrooms now all of a sudden. Okay. Now, the question is, do I want to do this? Some sort of silly tongues. Not all of them. I think I do. I think it's funny. Funny looking. Okay. Let's see, I gotta wait for that to dry then. One more thing from Sam, kind of out of left field. Do you think it is inappropriate to say a fictional character poked another fictional character's butt in a kid's book? Or is the context silly? It's the context silly. I think it's fine. I think absolutely a-okay. I think that poking a butt isn't an issue. I think, in fact, the word butt and things like that, the sillier the better, obviously. But even if it's serious, to say, "Oh, he poked me in the butt," I don't think it's a problem. I think we as adults probably overthink some of the word choice more than the kids do. Okay, we're getting close. We'll be done soon. First, I need to tighten that up a little bit. There. Put it in here and stick that guy back down. It's peeling up. I want to come back in with maybe some spots on them. This color, and I want this color. No, Sam, I see your question about, poor language or whatever. Like, again, I work in a book called Poop. I don't think it's contextual. If it's a book that is meant to be about, a historical book about the Iraq War and the ramifications of that on a family and how they had to move out of the country and things, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, don't poke someone in the butt in that book. But if it's just a silly context, like, so be it. And maybe I was referencing, it's not the same thing, but a Syrian refugee book called Journey by Karina Lukin that has a very, like, serious tone about a Syrian refugee family moving. And, like, yeah, that's one you don't want to poke someone in the butt in it. But again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Do it to it. Just get last looks in here. And then I'm going to soften up the ground plane on these and sort of maybe a little harsh on some of those, so I might soften them up just a. Ooh, that pencil just broke. I think I'm going to do this one next week so everybody sees farmer and his tractor exploded. It says Pip Hop Fizz. I've been trying to put more type because I love doing type, put more type into some of the images that I make just for fun. And I just need to do it. And so one of the things I am going to see about, though, this is crazy if I get this to work. I'm not a big fan of the paint I put up here. Let's see if I can erase out some. It's acrylic marker, but I've found that it doesn't fully set, and so if I come back with some water, I might be able to. It's just that checkerboard pattern was too much. I don't mind the stripes, but the checkerboard pattern. So let's see. Just gonna scrub it off the surface. Looks better. Let's see. One of the reasons I had the checkerboard pattern down there is originally I was thinking this piece was going to be a piece that involved a grocery store. It was going to be some sort of weird simplistic grocery store image. That didn't happen. Now it's this. Leapfrog, leapfrog. Okay. Got just a couple more minutes before this thing's going to log me out. I also had a clean run. Sometimes when I do these, we end up with situations where you have lots of internet problems. We did not have that much this time, which is great. I'm trying to like just diminish some of these lines are maybe a little too robust there. And that one That one that's stuck. What is that? I don't know if that's underneath or not. Scrape at it and get it up. There we go. Okay. That may be it. Let me just do final little glue downs of things that have just in the process of working on it and peeled up a little bit. I think that may be it for the day. Oh, well, I could do this. Little like stripes that sort of imply some spoiling. Okay. If anybody has any last minute questions, now's the time. Yeah. Wrapping up for the day. Okay. Weird image. I don't know where it came from. I might do, but I just put a giant thing of paint on one of my markers there. Oh well, it'll dry. It'll dry. Let me get these all cleaned up and out of the way. Hold on, let's start these sections. What I'll do is I do the same thing I did last time, where I put it on a lovely black page so you can see what it looks like without all the mess around it. Get these out of the way. This up there, these paints out of the way. Oh, I'm going to stuck my pencil in that too. Man, I got a lot of things in the paint today. These out of the way. Get my blackboard up here that I used last time. And this out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. And then I will end on this. That's my end. So let me get this zoomed in real quick and then we'll wrap for the night. I'll get it so it's not crooked either. You know, and I just changed my light to, hold on, let me flip it, add it, there we go. Still crooked. Okay, we're getting there. I guess that's as close as I can get with the ends there. I'll move it up. It's on screen a little better. It's still, and I just keep switching it. I don't mean to keep switching it. There we go. Frogs playing leapfrog. That's what we made today. All right, so next week again, Carter Higgins is on. Then I have a week off because I'll be getting my teeth removed from my face, i.e. wisdom teeth removal. And then the last week is with Lala Watkins for the month. Otherwise, you all go have a lovely week, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.